It's the intergalactic soul, the honorable brother, the revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells 177. I'm Mel. That's Sam. We're just two broads talking about the wrestling we watch. Sam, I can see that you're wearing yours. I am wearing mine.
Yay!
Powerbombshells t-shirt on the Powerbombshells. Huzzah!
We got them finally.
It happened. But and you can have your own if you would like one, because check this out. I got wicked creative this week, Sam. I made us a thing so we could sit next to it. And you guys can get yours if you want to have one. It is oneradtee.com. It comes in black, the color Sam's wearing, which is the sky, or the color I am wearing, which is the azalea. And I believe that Bob wants one in this color too, so that's going to be funny when we're rocking two pink.
I love it.
It's my favorite thing because it's like the Keith Lee shirt that I got that was pink from years ago. That was a special run that he did that had like an artist did it for him. That was indie, and I just love it. So, how was your week?
Crazy.
Same.
Had a lot going on, and I had to. I don't know if I should get into all of it. But yes, I had. We'll just say, long story short, I ended up with having to take my cat. So Roman, who is named after Roman Reigns, your OTC, the Powerbombshells OTC, apparently had to prove that to somebody a couple of days ago, a little kitty, and he ended up with an abscess on his ear. Had to drop him off on Friday at the vet, and then he apparently had some kind of reaction to the anesthesia, as in it could not. I mean, the reaction as in he was just super anxious for like.
So it wouldn't take him out. It wouldn't calm him down.
It took him. I was telling Nikki, I was like, did they give him cocaine? Because he would not go to sleep. It took him a day and a half. Like, I think yesterday morning he finally went to sleep a little bit, maybe. But he was wide awake, would not. He couldn't get comfortable. He was like, literally was like tweaking. And that's what I was like. It was like he was having a hard time. And so he finally crashed out last night and slept. Like I had this mobile like planter, and the very top one he loves to lay in it. I had to keep, like, he practically killed my spinach because he was laying on top of it when it was growing. Oh, no. So we moved it to the top one. There's nothing but dirt in it. Nikki calls him Pigpen. Or we call it his Pigpen.
That's cute.
So he went and he got in that last night, and he slept for like 6 hours in it, like while all through me doing collision coverage and stuff. And so I'm going to have to talk to the vet and be like, in case this happens again, like we need to give him something else, because he was struggling. Like we stayed up until Saturday morning. We stayed up with him until like 3 o'clock in the morning because he just couldn't get comfortable, or he'd lay down and then he'd get up, and he was on the struggle bus. So
buddy, I hope he's feeling better. That sucks.
Nikki said that he woke her up about every 2 hours.
Hard to be a pet parent too, folks. Like the struggle is real.
He seems to be better today. We got him. He had an e-collar and he kept catching it and making his ear bleed. So we got him, but we had already ordered it anyway, but we got him. Nikki had seen it, some account that she follows, and had talked about it. It's just like, it looks like a flower, and it's this really soft e-collar that goes around their neck, and it makes it easy so they can sleep and things like that. And so we got him, we ordered one and it got here yesterday, and he figured out how to get out of it, but we figured out we can tighten it. And so he's currently asleep in the recliner with it on. So
excellent. Because we had to do similar. All of our German Shepherds, especially the first one, because he was really big. He was over 100 pounds. He hated the head cone. Mm-hmm. And when I say hated, this dog would literally, like, he would back up and he would smash it against like the coffee table or furniture. And he was big. So you would hear just crash. I can't count the number of head cones this kid went through. And so we would just kind of have to like work with it and make sure he didn't and he was really good listener. But when our next German Shepherd, who was a little smaller, but was still like 90 pounds, he hated them too. And he would get anxious and he would just smash it on things. And our vet, bless her heart, she's wonderful. I will never leave her. Introduced us to the inner tubes. There's inflatable inner tube collars that you can get.
We almost ended up with like the little donut thing. That's what we were gonna get.
That's what they are. They look like little inner tube donuts, and they do adjust, and they have little Velcro in them. But it just goes around their neck, so they can't obviously get to the things. Because the entire point of the head cone, for anyone who's not a pet owner, which I don't know many of you are, but it's to keep them from chewing on the thing or what, because they're liable to lick it or whatever the wound is or whatever the issue is. So if you
stitch out.
So it's or pulling stitches out. So so we too got we switched to, so we have a big one and a medium sized one, so that if in the event that that happens, and like Roman, we found that because they did the same things. We were struggling with them when they would get like surgeries or something, because they would just be like incessantly wandering. I think especially certain kinds, and you've got he's a rescue too, right? So he's already he was a street cat before he decided he wanted to live with us. And so I think it's trickier when, in my experience, it feels like, and when I talk to other rescue people, is like their separation anxiety with you can be so detrimental. Like we had to go pick that first German Shepherd up at the vet, because usually they kept him for his surgery, and usually they keep pets overnight, but he couldn't be sedated so much, and he was just pacing and he was whining and everything. Our vet called us up. He's like, "Can you come get your dog? We usually keep them here so that they don't hurt themselves." But he's and he trusted us, and he knew. And literally, we went down there to the city and we grabbed the dog, and he was an awesome vet too. We got Luke in the car. We got him home. He laid down and went to sleep. It was
good.
It was just, he just was in a not cool place. And so.
Yeah, Roman cried all the way home, or he cried all the way to the vet, cried all the way home. And because he was in an e-collar, his carrier is a little bit large, because he's a big tabby. Yeah. It's just, he's a very big boy. And so we had to find a carrier he could fit in, but he somehow was trying to kind of thrash around in the carrier with it on. And then he got it stuck. And I was like, we live less than 10 minutes from the vet. I'm like, I'm almost home. Please don't choke. I thought I was going to have to pull over in a parking lot because he would not calm down. And Nikki was like, he's going to choke himself. And I was like, do you need to get in the back seat with him and
sit with him and hold on to him? Yeah. I mean, it has to happen. It has to happen sometimes. Yeah. You just never know.
Yeah, so we were and then Nikki made the point. She's like, unfortunately, because this is the first, as far as we know, this is the first incident he's been in quite a while. But Nikki was like, she's like, he does this. So she's like, we need to just we're going to have an e-collar on hand. And so we're going to keep the original one that he got sent home with, because I paid for it. And I was like, we'll have it now in case he does this again. And especially
can you WWE book yourself instead of booking yourself for this is an instance where booking yourself for the sickos is not okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, Nikki said she had to unbuckle herself and open the lid just enough for the cone to get out. Yeah, it was
funny.
Rough.
I am you guys are awesome.
Thank you, Brad, for answering Curryhead, because I was going to go back to that. So I appreciate that, because Curryhead had asked if they could get them in a 2XL, and yes, you can. And Brad answered him and told him about that. Thank you, Brad. Brad and Kathy got their shirts, I think, before anybody else, even before us, which is great. And they've had, he says they're comfortable and high quality. Can confirm, and I'm not just saying that because it's ours, but it is very comfortable. Because as soon as I put it on, I was like, "Ooh, Brad was right."
Yeah, he uses the nice ones. He's been doing it for a long time, and I actually is so cute, because over the years, because I was like, "Can you do this or can you do this for me?" It was like, "Can you test this out? Is it good quality? Is it not good quality?" So it's I've kind of been one of the many guinea pigs that has worked on stuff like that. So
sure,
it's important. I think that I met some people yesterday that were doing the same thing. We even met some. You would really cool, and I wish I got their name. I'm following them. I will share their name on the socials, but people out of Battle Creek, Michigan. They do collectibles, and this gal and her husband, and they do custom collectibles. So the same kind of idea as what Lowe does, but in the vein of like making action like figures or
cool.
NWO symbols for their like. So taking like my friend wants a like NWO like a cross with a like this thing or whatever, or so they make these like specialty collectibles for wrestling fans, and it really reminded me. And I was like, I made sure to follow her, and I'll share out their stuff.
Very
but
cool.
Another gal doing stuff like this, and I was just very excited to see her like out there, and that's about a 2-hour haul for them. So they came down for the wrestling expo that we're sponsoring this weekend, and it was awesome to see like
that's very cool.
3-way women's match was one of the features. It was
awesome.
These promotions, it was interpromotional, so I got new promotions to follow.
Yay!
So awesome. Got to see a lot of interpromotional talent from the indie scene here in Southeast Michigan. So I'm like favorite people that we need to go like watch around here, and they're not far away from here. One of them's like
even better,
2 towns over. Super awesome. Such a great idea to bring a bunch of local. It was kind of like a super card with a bunch of local talent, and it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
And I really got to like start to get to know these and the people that really want this stuff to take off and all the different. But yeah, the women are involved in these promotions very heavily. I mean,
that's amazing.
They had a women's wrestler of the year award on Friday because they did an award show as kind of a kickoff event.
Oh, cool.
It was really great because they were honoring local wrestling and local wrestling scene. So they did like feud of the year and wrestler of the year and all these things.
Nice.
But it was local wrestlers.
Yeah, there's a thing here that's the Carolina Awards, and that's that they do. I don't know that they actually have a show though, but they have like where people can vote, and it's the same.
Yeah,
thing,
we
like,
voted
this year.
It was really cool. It was voted, and then if you like went to the event, a local Fox News anchor who it turns out he loves the indie scene as much as all of us.
Very cool.
So, and I recognize that he and another anchor on that network were wrestling nerds, because you can always tell the wrestling nerds, and they're the only two. And you know how it is with your local morning show. You kind of get to know them.
Yeah, sure.
You go through the whole thing, and it's like, so he was actually the guy that hosted it, which was really cool because I got to talk to him, and I was like, I love how you and Ryan Armani are the 2 wrestling nerds on the network. And we were just chatting, and like we were having a blast. It's like amazing. It's like indie wrestling, everyone.
Right.
It's the best. I love it. Our friend Spider, he was going to have an announcement, but the reason he didn't was because that jerk got himself thrown in the hospital again.
Oh, no.
However, he is okay, and he did wrestle yesterday, and he is wrestling today.
I'm glad he was good enough
because
that he could wrestle.
Him and Jim Valley need to do a crossover shirt for the king of effing recovery or the effing king of recovery.
Right.
But I'm happy to report he was excellent shape. He was great yesterday. But
good. That's good to hear.
You know, another trying to knock down the Spider. And for those of you who missed it, what was it? He just said it this weekend, and now, of course, I've forgotten it. But the 11-minute documentary that we've shared that we all enjoyed, and those of you who have joined us in the past, that's one of my local promotions. Like I told Sam, I got to meet Truth Martini from House of Truth Wrestling.
That's so cool.
I got to be like, thank you for Alex Shelley. I love it.
And he's training with them now. He coaches.
He's one of the coaches over there.
Yeah, he coaches on. He posts about it on his Insta stories often. He'll post that he's there, or he'll post like a picture from class or something like that.
I would venture that
like Tuesdays or something like that.
I would venture that at least 60 to 70% of these wrestlers are working out of like that school.
Wow.
And when he won, he got a Lifetime Achievement Award at that.
Nice.
And when he won it, the people that were able to be there, because again, it's a Friday night, so people have bookings.
Sure.
But that place erupted. I mean, he is just everyone in the room, basically, that was part of that promotion on every level was like that guy. When we talked to him, he was the nicest dude ever. He got a picture with Bob, and we were just BSing about wrestling. And he's in his, he's been in wrestling for 50 years or something like that. And he's still just like the biggest wrestling nerd. he's just the biggest wrestling nerd, and he's all about like how to treat people in the ring and how to do it the right way. And I love what I'm seeing. There's a lot of talent in Southeast Michigan, dude. There is a lot. It's pretty awesome. So that was, I did have a like wrestling day yesterday. It was nice. So these things are, we love the wrestlings. So also, let me see. And I also want to thank Paul real quick here for, thanks for that catch on the, I misdated the next week's pre-show. It will be Saturday, the 23rd of August at 10:30. The Powerbombshells pre-show pajama edition for Forbidden Door in Wembley Stadium will be next Saturday at 10:30.
Oh, it is Sunday.
I'm sorry.
The pay-per-view is Sunday. So the show is, yes.
They don't
move to, no, the Saturday pay-per-views don't move to Saturday until after Forbidden Door.
Now I'm highly confused. Okay, so I'll fix it again.
It is Sunday. It is 1 week from today.
Hey, don't listen to me. Edit that out. Cancel that. Forget that.
It is Sunday the 24th. It is 1 week from today. Then in September, the pay-per-views move to Saturday. So it is next Sunday. We will be here on our regular day, just an earlier time. We'll be here at 10:30 Eastern time, which for our UK watchers, it'll be regular time for them, or it'll be later, I guess, for them. But normal time for them, but early for us, because they actually
it'll be at a natural time for them. For a change. Right, it won't be at dinner time. It'll be at like lunchtime instead.
Right. So yes. Sunday, we'll make sure we post it out here. Yep, it is Sunday the 24th. We will be here there's
you're good.
A dog is in the his owner's coming. There's a FedEx truck in front of my house.
Again,
and I just saw a dog running but his owner just came around to get him. So
sorry, Paul. I'm extra confusing. But it is Mel. It is in my wheelhouse to be a little extra confusing.
That's all right. But yes,
I still appreciate the fact that you even read the descriptions, because a lot of times I'm writing them, occasionally I'll put a little like thing that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate anyone's even reading that.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, we will be here on the 24th.
At 10:30 a.m. though.
10:30 a.m. And then yeah, I was just letting him run his mouth because it was pushing our algorithm. But then, and I missed the comment, but Nikki saw it and she texted me and told me what he said. And I was like, and I went and found the comment and banned him immediately.
You guys are so much quicker with that stuff. I'm like,
well, because I saw some of the things.
That's
kind of letting it go because I was like, whatever, he's just pushing my algorithm up. I don't care. But then he made a slur against Mercedes Moné, and I missed it, but Nikki saw it and texted me immediately. And I scrolled back up because he was constant, so I had to scroll up a little, and I found the comment and blocked him and deleted it. When you ban somebody, it gives you the option to delete their comments. So I just deleted everything that he said.
Excellent.
But yeah, so Brad, hopefully no more. And then
for those of you who are new to here, just know that Sam and I have zero tolerance policy for hate speech, racial injustice, anything in the way. If you're here to be a douchebag or a racist or a misogynist or the things. That is a zero tolerance
There's
thing.
Other places on the internet where you can find that.
Yeah, there's plenty of that in cyberspace. You go out and take your basement spaceship out to cyberspace. And I hate to overgeneralize, but the fact is, if that's what pleases you on a Saturday or Sunday, again, like Sam said, up to the point, you can boost our algorithm all you want. We love living rent free. Shout out to BJ's show, but
yes,
we will not tolerate that kind of behavior here. That's unacceptable. It's not humane. So
yes.
And thank you guys, Nikki, for checking.
Yeah, she texted me and was like, "Hey, he just called her this," and I was like, "Hold on." And she was like, "Yeah," and I told her, I said, "I missed it," and she was like, "I figured you did," because he was talking so much that it was just pushing, and obviously we were having a serious conversation, and so I wasn't really. I was like, as long as he's not saying anything out of pocket, I'll just let him keep going, and then Nikki saw the slur, and I was like, nope.
None of that.
Out you go. So thank you for that. And so thank you guys for, I'm sorry that you guys had to deal with that in the chat too, that you had to just lots of things going on. But again, he was just pushing, at first, he was just pushing the algorithm.
Which,
And
you know,
so,
is tolerable to the point where
fine.
you stop being a human and then you
Right.
get gone forever.
Right.
And I am really glad. It's a testament to our
respond. He was probably testing the water to see if we were going to respond to the things he was saying. And then we did respond by kicking him out and not acknowledging it on here on TV. I mean, which I don't mind acknowledging it now, but like we just let him go and didn't give him what he wanted, which was attention, clearly. But yes, so let's hope.
I'm really thank you guys. Honestly, it's a testament to our community that you guys are looking out for that too, and you know that's not cool here. That's not.
We don't do that here.
That's not the environment we're fostering here at all.
No, not at all.
We want to talk about like fun stuff and wrestling and have a nice time with you folks that are kind enough to share your Sundays with us.
Yes.
And Saturday starting when football starts.
Yes, then the pay-per-view.
Because Tony doesn't compete with himself.
No, he does not. That's a smart thing to do.
Which
so
Saturday
pay-per-views from like, what is it? I think it's from September through like January. He does Saturday one. He does Saturday pay-per-views. And then,
through what? And I mean,
flips back. He flips
right
back.
after Super Bowl Sunday is usually like the first weekend of February.
Yeah. So he usually moves the Sundays like right after that. Yeah. But yeah, so September the 20th is the All Out Toronto. So that's our Saturday. Yeah, so Saturday, September the 20th is
the first Saturday one.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yep. Right. I think it's the 20th, but yes, it will. Yes, September is Saturday pay-per-view. So we got one more Sunday pay-per-view. And speaking of, I saw exactly why, and I don't mind that you said it, but somebody had mentioned in the comments about the G1, which is exactly why I watched the G1 main event. That's why we were late today. I was finishing up.
Sam was like, I am not going to get spoiled.
Listen, I limited in my social media, like all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, and yesterday till I could watch. So I watched the A block finals, I didn't get spoiled. I watched the B block finals. Well, just the matches So I watched those, didn't get spoiled. We watched yesterday. We watched it during the day yesterday, so we didn't get spoiled on who was making it to today's show. And then I'm sure there's other stuff that happened in the G1 that we need to go back and watch because I know they were hinting at a new Bullet Club member who I think we all pretty much figured out who it was going to be. And then. So there's a clip on this channel from Speaking of Strong Style, and they are talking about Naito and how basically Naito's full of crap. So Naito gave this interview with Tokyo Sports, I think, and was like, I couldn't get into the US because visas are really hard to get right now, and I couldn't. There's problems, which is true. So that
is, it's something you could lean into, certainly.
Right. So sure, it's certainly possible. That's why he never did any US shows. Maybe there really were visa issues. We've seen it with Japanese and UK wrestlers trying to get back to AEW.
And the Mexican wrestlers as well.
Right, exactly. So there's that. But then he, like, in that same interview, he's like, well, I will be in Italy on, I think it was like August the 16th, which will be or August 17th, which will be the 18th in Japan. Just basically like, so there's no way I can be G1 final because I will be in Italy. Well, then he says, apparently yesterday he posted, and it was a picture of, I didn't read it, but there's a picture of him and he's playing with sparklers in a park. And he apparently claims he had visa issues again, which is interesting because he did wrestle in the UK. He wrestled for Rev Pro like just a few weeks ago. He and Bushi did, but he claims that he was having visa issues and couldn't wrestle in Italy. And then somebody replied and was like, apparently he was never booked for Italy because they're like, I've looked for the matches. I've talked to people in that would know. Naito was never booked. So apparently he was lying the whole time. So I don't know. We all thought as soon as I was watching, I was like, oh, he's definitely going to be at the G1 finale. I don't know if he was, but like or if not, he's coming back soon. And so I don't know if I don't know if he ever even tried to go to the US, or if this was just some big like, oh, I'm totally not gonna be at the G1 because I would be wrestling in Italy, which apparently so
he just like picked a place.
Okay, no Naito. So
Okay.
I do think Naito's coming back because
I feel like he's coming back for the Tokyo. Like I feel like he'll be back for the Tokyo. That's what I mean. It's
yeah, he'll be back because, like Jeremy and Steven pointed out, he's over 40. He not only does he have knee problems, he has vision problems.
Yeah.
WWE is not going to touch him. AEW will book him some. He can come over here and do some indies like if he wanted to, if he can get here. But like, and clearly, the Japanese audience yes, as we've talked about, the economy is a huge factor into why they're not buying tickets. But also, there's no Naito, and now Goto is no longer the champion because he's gone to film a movie. So they need him, and he needs them. So I agree with Jeremy and Steven that he'll be back within the next few months. And so I wondered if he was coming today, but apparently,
I saw them chatting about it in the Discord and stuff, and so I was like, oh. That makes like he's not booked. He's not been booked since he left. He's like, I'm never coming back. But the two of them are in our New Japan Discord, and it's just like, no.
Yeah,
we're pretty much all like, no, he's coming back soon. He's
because they're wrestling there. He and Bushi, they did wrestle in Rev Pro like a few weeks ago, and they have new merch. It says Los Train because they're going because they couldn't use the LIJ name and they can't use the music. They're not allowed to, so they changed their name to Los Tranquilos. Los Tranquilos de Japón, I think is what they changed it to, and that's what he and Bushi are wrestling as. And like they've got new, like Bushi's been posting, he's got like new masks and stuff, so they've been doing a little bit of stuff. But yeah, I expect them to be back in New Japan sooner rather than later. It seems like, because I kind of wondered, I was like, well, I wonder if they would book them for Forbidden Door since they're technically freelancers. But now I don't. Yeah, maybe they'll just wait just wait and surprise everybody. Then Brad said, man, the evil we got in that match was the evil I wish we got all the time. Yes. Got that HOT BS out of the way early, and he and Takeshita Cook, that was one hell of a match. What I really loved was just, I don't know, if you're going back to watch the main event, I don't want to spoil it because there was something that happens in the match to kind of
you're fine. You guys can talk about it.
One thing I really liked was because all of House of Torture eventually got banned. Rocky helps get them out of there. They eventually get banned because, of course, they're up to their shenanigans very early on. And so Ren Narita, a little bit later, tries to get involved, and Zach came from the back.
Nice.
And Zach pulls him out of the ring, puts him in an ankle lock, and like just pulls him up through the thing. He's like, Ren's like walking with his hands, and then he gets tired of dragging him because it's such a long way, and then he just like puts him in a headlock, and there's just pulls him to the back to keep him out of it, which was interesting because the day before, during the when they were doing the semifinals, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Walker or Charlton was like, everybody hates House of Torture and them always interfering. Why doesn't everybody just put their differences aside and work together to get rid of House of Torture? Like, once we all work together, there's more of them than there, more of you than there are of them. Like, why aren't you working to get them out? And so to see Zach come out and be like, I'm not putting up with this shit. Like, I'm tired of it. And
awesome.
So Takeshi, having Zach come out there as the champion.
Yeah, I was gonna say he is the champ. So
yeah, I'm so sick of this. I'm not,
I'm the boss of this place, and I'm not having it anymore.
Tana's not doing anything about it, and which people keep bringing up the Tana tweet from when he was president and said,
"Oh yes, Chris Sampson was hilarious on Twitter."
A lot of people were pulling.
He's like, it's never a good day when people are digging up.
Right, I saw that, and Nikki and I talk about it all the time. Like when they interfere, we're like, Tana, what are you doing? You promised to get rid of this shit, and so that's why some people thought that Evil was going to win because they were going to make it where Evil had to wrestle Tana in his final match to kind of like vanquish him or whatever. And I really hope that's not Tana's last match. But if that's the storyline that they're doing, I can see that. And so, the match was really good once they got going. And like, because we were watching it, Nikki and I were like, remember when Evil used to be cool? Like,
Right.
and then, like, remember when he was like
Milano
LIJ
AT's
Evil?
favorite wrestler?
Yeah, he was so cool. And then they were talking about on commentary, they said it's that we've been dealing with Evil and House of Torture for the better part of 5 years.
Oh my God.
Too much. And so, like, and I get it. So,
when
like,
will it end? When will
right.
our long national nightmare end?
Yeah, and I was like, and apparently it's a bigger issue for Western fans than it is for the Japanese fan, which I get. And I try to come at this from, I know I come from this a lot, obviously, as a Westerner, and I get it, and I try to recognize that. But like, so a lot of people were really pissed that Takeshita won. They're mad that he knocked Zack out of the tournament, and they were mad that Zack was that it was coming down because they don't like Evil, but Evil is the homegrown talent.
Yeah,
Takeshita is the outsider.
Yeah.
Not recognizing the fact that Takeshita is literally one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best wrestler right now. Nobody is better than for the last few weeks, last few months, my wrestler of the year is a tie between Takeshita and Bandito.
Nice. Wow.
Because of the matches that they've been doing and like some of the stuff that Bandito was doing in the CMLL and ROH, like just he's been having an incredible year, but so has Takeshita. Takeshita had some really great matches in the G1, and I know I'm approaching this as a Western fan, and so but I'm just like, why can you not see like he's the best wrestler? Like why you would want somebody like him to represent your company because he loves wrestling so much, and I get that he's not loyal, you don't think, to New Japan, and I get like that side of it, but clear and they're because he didn't come from like a specific dojo.
Yeah, he
like,
breaks the cultural strictures that they
right.
have.
And so like, and then they were talking, so in comment, like when he won, they were talking about how when he was 6 years old, he wrote a letter to a specific dojo, I guess wanting to wrestle for them when he was 6. And then of course they brought up how in college he wrote the paper on the German suplex and like how much wrestling means to him. And like, so they brought up some of that stuff and like, it was interesting. So the fans like were not happy that he beat Zack at all yesterday, which I get because Zack is their champion and Zack has he's proven himself and he's no longer seen as an outsider. And that's what they were talking about during their match. So we got to, which was really nice. We got Takeshita versus Zack twice during the G1. Both matches were phenomenal. Both are on my match of the year contender list.
And I plan on, obviously, because I've been doing so much. I have picked out the matches because I know
I have several match of the year / honorable mentions from the G1 on here. I do agree with a lot of people that the B block was the better block this year, and
that's weird. That's unusual.
Yeah, B block was the better block this year. Their matches, even with Gabe Kidd being out, and so we were only getting 4 matches instead of 5. Those matches tended to be better, and not that the A matches there are some A block matches that I enjoyed, but the B block I think was the better ones. And then like the match between Tsuji and Evil was really, really good, and I was so close to getting Tsuji versus Evil. I mean, Tsuji versus Takeshita in the final, which is what I had predicted from the beginning. Steven had predicted that, and then he unfortunately he was cleared to wrestle today, but everybody thought he suffered a concussion because, he got dropped on his skull earlier in the match and they talked about it, but then Fale delivered a crucifix bomb. So clearly Fale is a huge man. So he lifts him really high in the air and drops him like right on his head. And like, I thought he was like legitimately concussed, and like the way they were treating him outside of the ring, like once the match was over, and like because the match ended in ref stoppage because he could not kick out because he was so out of it, they had to end the match. And so I thought almost that it was supposed to be Tsuji that won, and that they just had to call an audible because he got concussed. But apparently that he ended up being okay, and they cleared him to wrestle in he was in a trios match on today's show, and so apparently he's okay. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the fans react. Because like in the crowd, which a lot of wrestling shows, we know that sometimes real life does not reflect what's on the internet. And so sometimes the crowd was really behind Takeshita and they were evenly split, like they were chanting for Takeshita. But then there was one part like Takeshita grabbed Evil by the nose and he got booed for it. And they didn't like it. But then like they were cheering him on, and then he got some applause like when he won, and then so yeah, some fans seem to be super behind it, and some people just are tired. That you could tell they're tired of the Evil stuff. But then a lot of people were behind Evil in the crowd, and so it definitely was the kind of a 50-50 thing. And then I know, like, obviously people on the internet are going to have different opinions because clearly that's the nature of this. And so and I saw people were saying, like, there were screenshots of tweets where people were like, I'm not watching the finale because I hate Evil and I don't want Takeshita to win because he's an outsider. And they just there were quite a few. They were like, I'm not going to watch this. I don't want to see it. I don't want Takeshita to win, but I don't like Evil, but I don't want Takeshita to win, but at least Evil. And like Charlton even addressed, he and Walker talked about like the good and the bad. Like they were like, and Walker was like, we're not here to tell you one way or another how to feel about Takeshita. We're just saying that, on the one hand, everybody's tired of Evil, and Charlton was like, he's an asshole, but he's our asshole. Like, he trains at the dojos. He's been here for 13 years. He wrestled night in and night out. He's always here, where Takeshita's here, but then he leaves and he goes and he wrestles in DDT or he wrestles in AEW. And so, you and I have talked about this quite a bit over the last few months. Does Takeshita kind of move to Japan full time or move over to New Japan full time? I'm wondering now that he has won the G1 that even if he doesn't move more full time, that if he ends up spending more time there than originally planned, and how fans would respond to that. Like if he's here, if you see him, like this isn't the last. So, obviously G1 ended today and he'll probably, I'm guessing, will be at the Tokyo Dome. And he said in his post-match comments, like he wants the IWGP title, whether that's Zach or not by the time that happens, or even if he's getting he may not even get that might not even be the match going into the Tokyo Dome. But like, so if he's not there between now and the Tokyo Dome, then fans are going to be pissed. But if he's there, if they use him and he's working these shows, if AEW allows him to, like, I wonder if fans' perception of him will change if he's there more often, or if he's still going to have to do, I'm sure he'll still have to do a lot to prove that, like, he's worthy of their support.
I feel like they've come around before, and they obviously come around a lot for people that are foreigners. Maybe they're upset right now, and like you said, he's an excellent wrestler. He has put on consistently some of the best. My top matches of the year have come out of him a couple of years or 2 or 3 years in a row now. He's on lists every time. Maybe because of that outsider perception, once they are sitting there watching the wrestling, they'll forget about that so much and be like, oh, wow, this is an actual wrestler. And it might just be a struggle for him. I hope and think that he's the kind of wrestler that's up to it.
Yeah.
I think this is a smart choice for New Japan in terms of the entire picture, like the macro picture of, he's a huge star. You need somebody to help rebuild what you've got going on here.
Right.
He brings other eyes to the product, even when it's struggling, because they are in a recession. So they do need to kind of diversify a little and they do kind of need to keep the people that are subscribed a little bit happy. So I don't know. I hope that people come around to him because he's awesome. And I do hope that means he's spending a little bit more time in New Japan, because I just think it's such a perfect fit for him right now.
So apparently
he'll always be a draw in AEW, and we'll always love seeing him.
Right.
I don't know, that fits.
Yeah, and like the speech that he gave, like afterward, like Takeshita was crying when he won. He was like, and he said that he's never cried after a wrestling match before. So like he cried, and he was crying when they gave him the trophy and they handed him the flag. Like he was crying then, and he got a little emotional backstage too. But like even before he left, like, and he said, I'm so glad I became a professional wrestler. I love this. I'm professional wrestling. I want, he's just putting over being a pro wrestler. But then he's like, yeah, you can be here in the arena or watching at home. And if you want to be a pro wrestler, I can be your example. And you can see what I do. And he's like, because you've never seen anybody like me before. I'm one of a kind. It was really, so like, it was very much like, I'm appreciative, but also like, I know my worth. Like, I know I'm worthy of 3 contracts. Nobody has 3 wrestling contracts. But I am not everybody else. And like, it was very like a very confident thing, not arrogant. I don't think, at least that's not how I took it, but he took it very confident in himself and who he is and what he does, but also very overwhelmed and appreciative of that moment and being able to he was trusted enough that they gave him the spot to win that. Is how it came across. And again, I'm obviously, I know I'm saying this as a Western fan, and I'm saying this as somebody who is a huge fan of Takeshita. And so, I know that, maybe the Japanese fans don't quite feel that from him. So it'll be really interesting to see, how that plays out.
I'm super hyped for him. That's amazing.
I am too, and
that's huge. That's the G1. That's the biggest tournament of the year, in my opinion.
And that's what they pointed at on commentary as the match was going on. They're like, if Evil wins, like New Japan is like the standard in wrestling. The G1 winner is huge. So like, if Evil wins this, like that's representing all of pro wrestling. Is that the guy that you want to represent New Japan globally? Is that the guy that you want to represent professional wrestling as a whole? Or do you want it to be somebody like Takeshita, which is exactly how I feel about it. But I get that, I'm coming at it a very different perspective than,
I feel like a lot of people look at the 3 contracts detrimentally. I disagree. I completely disagree, because now you're pulling from 3 fan bases.
Right. Yes.
And you're pulling people's eyes to your product by 3 different. What's the problem with DDT wrestlers or wrestling fans looking over and going, our guy is wrestling in New Japan and he's killing it? There's a lot of talent in New Japan.
Also because DDT is seen, I know that from what I've been told, that a lot of New Japan fans tend to look down on DDT because it's comedy and it's not the same serious style of wrestling.
A lot of weird.
I know the perception has changed some over the last 2 years, but I know that that's a big part of it. Is like, why is he doing comedy shit? Like, if he's that good, why isn't he here? And but I retweeted a video right before I came in here, and there was a video of DDT fans being told that Takeshita won, and everybody just erupted in cheers when they heard that he won. And nice. I retweeted it, and I was like, see? And I was like, and I get it, and that's not to say that the Japanese fans who don't like Takeshita, that's not to say that their feelings are invalid or anything like that, but to see that, I thought was really cool. And like, Chris Harrington tweeted about how everybody at AEW was really proud of him. And like, so yesterday, apparently, I didn't see it, thankfully, but apparently it was enough that Fightful sent out a select report about it, that certain fans were trying to say that Tony Khan influenced.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And that he got Takeshita put in the finals.
That's ridiculous.
Not everything is Tony Khan's fault. Please find something new to argue about. Look, and I know a bunch of your favorites went to AEW, but that's not because Tony poached them. It's because New Japan could not pay them. Their economy has been awful. They're having a really hard time after the pandemic, and I hate that for them. I love New Japan. It's one of my favorite companies, but Tony Khan is not poaching your
business, folks.
It started with Aussie Open. People are like, no, they point to Okada. It started with Aussie Open because Kyle Fletcher got on Twitter and said that Aussie Open is not signed anywhere. And they had just competed in New Japan. And everybody's like, what do you mean you're not signed anywhere? And so Tony talked to them. He paid for the surgery that Mark Davis needed and then let them come in. And then Jay White came over because they couldn't afford him anymore. They couldn't afford Okada. And as Nikki and I were talking about, what else was there left for Okada? Okada has done literally everything that he can do in New Japan. What else was he going to do? People were eventually going to turn on him if he became the champion for like the 47th time. Like, he's
not like super old. He's still in his 30s. Like, why would he not go out and play the?
Right.
He is the greatest wrestler of all time. He can go do what he wants to. Like,
he carried that title on his back for how many years?
Days.
And so Geto got lucky because he had Okada
for so many years.
He got lucky that he had Jay White, where they did the huge swerve. Like, that was excellent storytelling. They did a lot of really cool stuff with Jay White. Jay White was one of the best heels in the business. Like, he got lucky because he had 2 excellent talents. And then what has he done since then? This booking that is happening is not because of Tony Khan. It's because Geto has not been a great booker the last few years. Like, stop. Tony Khan is not all of your problem. And believe me, and y'all know, I mean, I know, I have my issues with Tony Khan. Like, this is not because I'm pro Tony Khan or anything like that, but stop blaming him for everything. It's not his fault. Like, Geto is the one who books this. Tony has nothing to do with it. Please get a grip.
Every
But then they had to put out this quote or they talked to, so they asked, the Fightful asked around, like, did Tony have, because that's their job. Did Tony influence this? Did Tony tell them that Takeshita has to be in the final? And then, of course, he didn't. And then it's not really, and then it turns out he's not really a fan of Evil. Evil has never wrestled in AEW. He hasn't wrestled in ROH since Tony has owned it. And it turns out,
and then I guess
it turns out that Tony's not a fan of his.
He said he's not a fan. That's literally
he's not a fan of his, so he hasn't booked him.
I mean, Tony is dumb.
He has nothing to do with that. Please stop blaming it on everybody. Please stop blaming everything on Tony Khan. Yes, Tony Khan should be blamed for certain things, and he should get. And I'm the first to do it. We're going to do it in a few minutes when we talk about ROH, and I'm gonna go after Tony.
Oh yeah, there's plenty to be mad. This is like, I guess. I didn't see the whole thing, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but apparently there was some body shaming going on for the WWE president there. And listen,
I'm not surprised.
There's plenty to get up Paul Levesque's beehole about.
Oh yeah, I did see that where they were body shaming. Yeah.
Can we not?
No, because that's the default method is to body
name calling, body
shaming.
I mean, all of those like petty, like
you should be mad at him for not reading the lawsuit. For
Correct.
saying he hasn't read the lawsuit. You should be mad at him for pretending that for the way that he is counterbooking everything. I know
it's like people are mad at Monsanto and they're like GMOs, and I'm like, no, it's because they've stratified our plant system so that if they get even one fungus, it will kill our entire food supply.
Right.
So seriously, it's you can totally be mad at them, but please be mad at them for the right thing.
Right.
There's
you can be mad at them. Listen, you can be mad at Tony Khan for things. But Tony Khan is not the reason. He's not poaching talent. They can't. It's a business.
And the idea that Tony Khan would be booking the G1 when the mere idea of Takeshita having other contracts is a problem for the fans makes that premise entirely ridiculous.
He has enough trying to book his own show.
It's just ridiculous.
He can barely book ROH. You think he has time to influence the G1?
Wrestling fans have a special way of working themselves into shoes. I don't know what it is. It's you guys, like,
it's okay.
Can we not? Because it doesn't look good. It reflects poorly on those of us who enjoy our wrestling and don't make up weird conspiracy theories about it.
Let's take a deep breath and then look at that Ghetto is the problem. It's Ghetto is the problem.
I saw that too, and I was like, oh God. I literally rolled my eyes when I saw that. I was like, here we are. What stage of conspiracy theory are we at now? It's just, I don't even know anymore. I expect like Sasquatch just be walking through my backyard practically at this point.
I don't know if I would read this comment really quick. I saw it later because I was up in the other comments, and so I don't know if Mark is still here, but Mark said, hey Sam, I'm just hoping for a major swerve in that Okada Strickland title match, pun intended. I don't see a major swerve there. I see a really great match, but I don't see Okada losing that title. However, if he were to lose that title, like Swerve is one of the best.
Oh my gosh, Swerve would be great.
Swerve's incredible. I don't see it happening. I feel like he's going to hold on to that title.
This is a classic case of we're the winners,
right?
This is one of those times.
Yes,
we fans win.
Crash said, sad day for the isolation. The Takeshita win for me is a net positive for the pro wrestling community as a whole. He deserved the recognition, and hopefully it'll get more eyes on the NJPW product.
Exactly.
I'm right there with you.
That's exactly right, because he has huge fans in AEW and DDT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that I agree with that 100%, Fernando, because that is, Sam just said it. Remember when he used to be cool?
Right. He used to be.
He used to come out with that sigh. He was so awesome. Like, I was a huge Evil fan.
Milano and Milano loved his little
Milano Collection AT loved him. He had like, he was always like having his little Evil. He had his little like mini side. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That was a great Evil. I love that.
Yeah. Yes, it is an awful mentality. This was earlier about Takeshita. And then Evil and House of Torture isn't great. It just comes across as a band of low-level punks. NWO, if that's what they're going for, at least have the prestige of Hogan, whatever your opinion of him and the Outsiders. And I get it. Like, I know that the Japanese fans respond to them a lot differently than we do, but like it's been going on 5 years now. Like, are they still into that, or are they also as sick of it as the rest of us are?
Yeah.
And like, it's interesting to, and again, I know they have to, obviously you're booking for, on the one, you are mostly booking for the Japanese fans, the fans who are going to come there and buy your tickets, but like, is Evil selling tickets? Like,
I don't know. That's,
and and also it is the G1, and yes, it's extremely prestigious. It's the most prestigious tournament in all of wrestling, in my opinion. But he's not the champion. Like, Takeshita didn't become the IWGP champion today, but people are acting like if he won that he would. And I get it, because the G1's very prestigious.
Well, usually the winner challenges, but that's
but
like a
last
pretty
year,
big jump
they did
for this situation.
Zach, I know it's because Naito his injuries were catching up with him. So Zach won at King of Pro Wrestling, that he won the title from him then. But yeah, I don't know. And if Zach is still the champion going into the Tokyo Dome, if Takeshita wins, if Takeshita is challenging him at the Tokyo Dome, and then if he wins, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe between now and January, maybe Takeshita will have won over more fans, or maybe he'll be there more often and maybe they'll feel a bit differently. But like, if this is his last appearance until like right before the G1, I can see, Tokyo.
Yeah, they need to definitely book him on some shows and some.
I'm hoping that Tony has agreed.
There's the one more pay-per-view before Wrestle Kingdom, where you have to make absolutely sure you get the challenge.
Right. Because there's
usually one more show in between now and Wrestle Kingdom that's like, it determines whether you're going to determine getting a shot.
Show, I think, right? I think so. And also, speaking of New Japan, we'll bring it up again. Steven and Jeremy are going live today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time to talk about all of this and to weigh in on the G1 overall, to weigh in on what happened today, what comes next. And I'm sure they're going to be talking about a lot of the same things that we're talking about. So definitely make sure that you tune in at 5:30 Eastern to check them out. Because also, if you want to see a person who doesn't really watch AEW talk about the Forbidden Door card, there's a clip from last week's show where Steven just hates everything. And he also hates Hangman Adam Page. And I was yeah, I knew that he didn't like him, but like, he was like shitting on him, and I was like, whoa. And Jeremy was like, I'm a huge Hangman Page fan, so I'm gonna stay out of this.
Those two are awesome. I love them.
Great. So if that is your fill, you should definitely go check that out, because Steven is not feeling, so his reactions to some of the two, we're going to talk about some of the matches that were just made, but his reactions to some of them were really funny. And he was like, he doesn't care about the show. I don't think he's even watching. I don't know that he's even watching Forbidden Door at this point.
That is too funny.
So definitely go check out that clip. But again, they'll be live at 5:30 on this very channel to talk about what happened today. And yeah, the Crash is right. The industry is changing. I hope for the better. It'll require better coordination, but a lot of insecurity there, I feel, when it comes to NJPW's hardcore fans. It's a minority anyway, but vocal. And see, and that's what Nikki and I were talking about earlier, where it was like, is this just a small minority of people who,
the loudest people?
There are people who are, there are AEW fans who are that way, who are very protective because they've watched
yes,
since the beginning. And I can tend to be that way, because it is hard to, because I was at All In, the first one before AEW existed. And so like, I was there from the beginning. And so to watch this, it does in a lot of ways feel like I feel very protective of it, because I've been there since the beginning, and it has evolved a lot from what those first 2 years are. And sometimes like, I miss those early years and the things that they were doing. And then they got lost a little bit. We're trying to be too much like WWE, and the product suffered, but they've course corrected. And but so I get it. So like, I understand why like there are some New Japan fans who are very protective of their company, and they're very protective of the wrestlers who are there. And I get it. And I try to remember that, but sometimes I'm like, what is it gonna, like last week when we were talking with a USVA guy about people being pissed that Zach was gonna wrestle Nigel on Forbidden Door. because they thought he should do it on his own time. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. And
that's
so
right.
like I was so like and I get it, but like but there are a certain set of New Japan fans who are never going to be happy with
this.
the things. But then there are AEW fans who are never going to be happy.
I was just
There's
gonna say, I think
TNA
this may
fans
be
who are never going to be happy.
Itis with wrestling fans is just what the loudest on the interwebs, fantasy bookers are doing is that they are telling themselves these are the things that should happen because that's what they want to see happen or because that's their impetus or whatever. And so they get on the internet and they get loud and they get with a whole bunch of other misbehaving interwebs types. When I worked with kids, I used to call them the in-between kid. And this is to describe that is there were always kids in my classes who, if they were around the really good kids that were doing good stuff, they would do good stuff. But sometimes when they were around the kids that were goofing off and being yahoos, they would goof off and be a yahoo and get in trouble with those kids.
Right.
But they were the kind of kid who literally could go either way in between kids. And I think there's a ton of those in the wrestling community. And because of the way that the internet is designed to mess with our brains, they get on the internet and they start making up wild things like Tony's booking Gato's promotion and Mercedes is booking Tony's promotion and Dave Meltzer is being paid by all of them. And I just
girlfriends to win the AEW championship.
Right. It's a lot of people who have this space now to where they used to have to either journal or go out and scream or tell their friends who would say, Jimmy, that's ridiculous. That doesn't exist for as many people. And so they get on there and they start getting in their echo chamber. And literally the internet is designed to do that to people. And seriously, those wrestling fans, unfortunately, seem primed to take the bait for advertisers and so when you're simping on there and you're like telling me that Mercedes is booking Tony and Tony's booking Gato and all that stuff, all you're doing really is simping for billionaires. And
billionaires are not your friends.
They don't know you, they don't care about you. They bank on you being online simping for them, in fact. Right. So they don't have to do it
every day with people related to the government.
Everything. I hate to say this to wrestling Twitter and wrestling social media, but as somebody who was on politics Twitter for the 2016 campaign, and I was sadly deeply in, you're not doing anything new, you're not doing anything original, and you're not saying anything that has not been said before.
Right.
About everything. Every single community of you, whether it's wrestling or politics or NASCAR or football or whatever it is, there seems to be this impetus amongst the in-between kids to go along with the negative kids. And that makes them louder than those of us who just largely want to enjoy our product. We hold our products accountable like you and I do.
Yeah, it's not like we don't critique them because, Jesus, that's what we do every week. We come in here.
But again, then you get the people who are like, you say one bad thing about you. You say one thing where you're criticizing something that AEW did, and they're like, you hate AEW. Okay, because that makes any sense at all.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just, guys, you're not original.
And it's like that, it's always the thing of like, I don't like waffles. Well, I like pancakes. So, I mean, it's just, it comes to.
Exactly. Sam, you just gave a perfect example. You could do that all day on the internet. Yeah. And you could literally set people off all day. Sam could go on the internet and start a ruckus by just saying that all day.
Right.
That's it. It's that easy. And it's designed for that. So if you want to get sucked into the brain wipe and you want to do your duty for the party.
It is, and I understand, like, sometimes it is easy to get sucked into those things because I've done it plenty of times.
Oh, no, I'm human. I'm not sitting here saying I don't do it.
Who get sucked in and then can't get out of it. Well, then there's also, like, and we've seen, there's also the trolls and the bots because there are plenty of bots employed.
Well, and many of them are not of this nation. The idea here is that there's a whole bunch of people out on the interwebs that are not of this nation who understand that Americans are very divided right now.
Yep.
And they are adding to that discourse wherever it might be.
Right.
So when they see people getting in fights about things, they're taking their cyber infrastructure and they're going, pancakes, waffles, and so they're boosting that, and that is real. I just got finished reading a whole book about it.
Yes, and how else we know a real life example of this was our good friend BJ, who was on this show last week, had bots reporting his tweets about WWE this week and got him where he could not post on Twitter for 2 days.
He got to Twitmo, folks. BJ Bethel, congratulations. You've had your stint in Twitmo.
Yes, and then it was funny because another account, because I thought on Blue Sky, and another account, they tweeted something about, I mean, it was a funny joke about, well, I mean, I think it was true, but it was also funny, or I guess it's funny because it's true, about Triple H, and he posted a picture, he posted a screenshot, he got limited as well. So they are sending, that company is legitimately, people thought Tony was crazy when he said, or they're sending out bots, and then it was proof, and then they proved that they were, and then we just saw it with BJ happen this week, days after he was on our podcast talking about the Janelle Grant lawsuit and Brock Lesnar coming back.
WWE people, the higher up people, they're friends with the people who employ cyber experts to do exactly this kind of work. So don't tell me Linda McMahon, who's a member of the cabinet, doesn't have access to the same cyber weapons that the government is using right now. That's a fact. That is fact. It's out there. You can read. I'm not spewing some conspiracy theory. This is out. It's been in the newspapers. We have tried to make laws about it that have to no avail because tech companies don't want it. You are never going to convince me that people who are in bed with the government, literally, can you describe this ruckus? What kind of ruckus was it? Yes.
See ruckus, Mikey.
Yeah, but that's a better ruckus. I'd like that. Can you describe the ruckus?
Thank you. We appreciate that.
And thank you. We appreciate all of you, seriously. And it's nice to have this is the thing. We know that most of the wrestling community isn't like that because we have the experiences we have all the time. Yeah. We get the support we get. We go out to our local promotions and we have the friends that we have there. We have all you folks that show up. We know that it's, as Con said it, or Con Cortez there said that the IWC is hilarious. That is right. If you are one of us that
they're
thinks
absurd
you can sit back and again, to me, when they are coming at you and BJ, that to me is well, Sam and BJ are hitting the mark. As Han Solo said, you must have hit it pretty close to the mark to get them all riled up like that. So
yes, yeah, and we saw that this week with BJ. So
I'm glad that I could be of help there. That was fun. It struck me this week as I was thinking about the fact that he didn't like the title. I tossed him a couple of ideas.
Yes. So yes, if you have missed it,
you are my inspiration, and I just always know.
Thank you.
I always know when Sam and BJ have written something excellent because of all the maniacs who think they're original in their menchies.
Yes. So if you missed it, BJ has the BJ Bethel project is dead. It is now the Rent Free podcast, thanks to Mel Shot, because we do appreciate you. Some of you gave some names to him last week during the show. And so he ended up going with Rent Free. And so you can follow the @Rent Free podcast on socials. So that he can.
BJ Bethel and Ruben J are doing that.
Yes,
show.
Ruben J.
Sounds like it's going to be excellent. Yeah. Those two sound like they're going to be a lot of fun. We'll get BJ on here as we promised. We will get him on here to just kick it and have fun
and just talk about nothing else.
Maybe when the get started, we can all nerd out about that, and we can talk about our all housekeeping tips. He can tell us what his favorite, house cleaning or pet rescue tips are or something.
Yeah, there we go. So Daza said, believe it or not, as bad as weird as the IWC can be, it's nothing on some corners of movie community, Star Wars, Marvel, etc. And listen, some of that stuff has, we've seen it because it'll.
Well, Gamergate literally influenced what is going on in the discourse today,
right?
And that was because of video game assholes. So,
right. Well,
and that's where it started, and it was all because
get removed.
One lady got caught having a relationship with a person, and they turned it into a freaking scandal, and it's completely changed. If you don't know about Gamergate, go look it up, go Google it. The reason that the discourse on the internet looks the way that it is right now, you can directly, that was the absolute catalyst for the discourse. It was the penultimate usage of the internet for all the wrong reasons in the current era. And that's exactly right. You go to a Star Wars thing, you go to a video game thing. Comic book come out with a woman that is the comic book hero in it, or she may be brown,
or a woman of color, or even, if it's a woman of color who's getting a prominent role.
Well, then, the Marvel properties on Disney right now, the extended universe, some of the series right now are like Ironheart was awesome. But a lot of people, the general feedback, when Bob always tells me, he's like, the feedback was it was too woke. And I'm like, is the main character black or brown? Okay. So, right. I mean, because that's what they mean when they say that. That's not what that word means.
But no, it isn't. But that's what they
tried
to use it for their own thing.
They try to co-opt these. This is what, Orwellian, that's the definition of Orwellian. So,
right.
It's not like that. And that's why we try to stay away from that. And that's, yeah.
And Crash is right that those in power understand the influence of the grassroots. That's why they've bought out social media and a lot. Yes, 100%. And Fernando, you are also correct that the IWC just wants to watch the world burn. You are also correct.
And they are part of a sadly, tragically negative portion of the cultural discourse, whether it be online or in person.
Right.
That the only thing that we can do is control us and control how we treat people, and that we have to go out in the world and model the behaviors that we want to see. It is a complete grift.
Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, it's, as I say in my bio, it's all a work. It's not brain surgery.
That's right.
Honestly and truly, even as I've gotten into market economics and become aware of these things over the last few years, it's a giant work. It is a giant work. It's a very expensive work. Your buy-in is impossible for any normal human to reach.
Yes.
But you can see it. And we are not going to fall victim to that. We are going to be the positive voices on the interwebs. And we're not going to listen.
We're going to critique and criticize, because we will, but we're not going to.
No. There's a difference between constructive discourse and criticism and just being a hater.
Right. Daza says, if he had all the Infinity Stones, there will be so less toxic computers tomorrow.
He's like, I'm not going to eliminate half the population, just all the toxic interweb people.
Hey, listen, do you know how much that would probably make things better, though? Crash, now there's the thesis there, Mel.
I mean, I know it sounds silly to say be the champion.
Right, he does not. He does not see color. And
that's right. I forgot.
He doesn't see color or gender.
Cody Rhodes solved racism years ago. So.
Right. And then he does not see color or gender. So, there's that too. And he just he just doesn't know how to book Carmelo Hayes, but it clearly has
he's an entirely equitable asshole.
Yeah.
So he's 100% asshole to everybody. He doesn't see color.
Right. He doesn't. Or gender.
Actually, and that is a lie anyway, because we all know Triple H does see one color. It's green.
Green with envy too.
But also, yes, there's two colors. There may be two shades there.
Yeah, we got two shades of green that he sees.
Two shades of green.
So now that we have
done our fair share of whinging
properly
about
got to that, we will get to. I mean, we did have we still had a good discussion.
Yes,
but we will get on to we have a couple new Forbidden Door matches this week. Actually, I take that back. Before we get into that, I did want to mention there is a little bit of an update regarding Janelle Grant, because we talked about the stuff with Brock Lesnar last week, but also we so on Monday there was a hearing in regards to her case against Dr. Carlin Colker and Peak Wellness. It was just a little bit of an update. So basically, the judge ruled that Peak Wellness has to turn over everything because they've only given her they've only given her part of the information. Her team says it's incomplete information, that it is that they're worried that they are hiding things, or that they have potentially even destroyed evidence because they have not evidence, but destroyed her records. And her lawyers his lawyers were like, well, we sent what we sent, and like, how can you? It was being a little difficult because I was listening to the call. But so they did. She cannot at this. Wait, there's something I just completely blanked on. There's something that she can't do. Oh, they can't depose him right now. They can't, but they do at this point where things are at. Carlin Colker and Peak Wellness have to turn over all of her medical records, all of her billing, everything they've got. I believe they have 60 days to do so. The judge did say he wants this to be handled as amicably as possible. And so that's kind of where we are right now. So that's a huge win for her and her team that the judge sided with them as far as all the records go, because they're her records and she deserves to have access to all of it. And so that's where that stands. And like I said, so they've got 60 days to do that. And also, while we're talking about it, the 26th is coming up next Tuesday. Not Tuesday this week, but the Tuesday following. Mm-hmm. That is when Vince McMahon is supposed to be in court for the car accident that he caused. And so that he's supposed to, that's the date is scheduled for that. Obviously, we know trials and things are not trials, but the things of that nature can get postponed and things of, like that. But it is scheduled for the 26th. So we'll see if there's any update about that. But I just wanted to give that quick update about Janelle's case, because that is a huge win for her to.
That is a giant win, because that means that them dragging their feet is over now. And
right. And they cannot, they cannot object to it.
That's contempt. If they don't turn that stuff over, that's where judge starts throwing down penalties.
Yes, and they cannot object to.
And if they're like
over her records or
making up evidence to send, that's even worse. So let's hope they're that dumb.
Oh no, USBA guy said, "Please help! I'm dealing with so many racist American fans speaking out about against Japanese fandom." Yeah, this stuff seems to bring out the worst in some people, and I hate that.
There's been an uptick, especially over the last several years, because of things like COVID, in just Asian Americans seeing a lot of racism here in the States too. And so I think that when you kind of combine all of that toxic behavior together, sadly, this is what you're going to get from the people that are prone to that sort of behavior, is they're going to fall into the easiest and sadly the most disgusting habits, which are prejudice, racism, xenophobia, the easiest, dumbest, really. I mean, the caveman, our lizard brain. I mean, that's us use your ape brain, folks, not your lizard brain. This is a time where you need to use your critical thinking skills. And you need to realize that this is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. And this company needs a bump. And keep your racism.
I'm sorry that you're having to deal. I'm sorry you're having to deal with that.
Want to go use racial slurs and stuff? Do it in your own time. Like, what I don't like, this is probably my biggest pet peeve, is that because of our leadership and situation, it has renormalized people being okay with saying things, and it's not.
There was a guy at the Washington Nationals game yesterday wearing a shirt that said "Nationalist" with the number 88 on the back of it. Out in public. We need to normalize punching Nazis again.
Agreed. We need that Captain
We
America.
need to normalize that Nazis are bad.
Superman. Listen, Marvel and DC were very clear on this. Superman and Captain America were unequivocal about fascism and Nazis. Right. And we may get demonetized for saying all of that right there, but so be it, because this is crazy. Yeah. And that's not okay.
I'm sorry that you're having to deal with it.
If you
that's a shitty
outcome,
thing to deal with.
That's one thing. But turning that into toxic hate speech and things is just nuts. Uh-oh. Steven needs to change his email.
Yes. God, yeah, I know. Brad said racism and the return of thing that Arthur has really rude.
That's my least favorite, and I've been really conscious about even myself, because unfortunately where I grew up it was used a lot.
Oh yeah, it was used a lot here too.
But now that I am
now that we know better.
Well, here's the thing. When you become disabled, you realize how much ableism is baked into our culture.
Oh, for sure.
And I even actually read, there's a book around that I just randomly came across my feed on Audible called The Disability History of America. And it was a mom of a gal who became disabled. And it's very interesting because she wrote about it. She's like, no one has written this history. And my daughter and I went through all the things that were similar to the things that I've gone through with both the medical system and just culture in general, thinking that I am lazy and that I should just fix it and that I should just get better, and how that's baked into our institutions, much like things like patriarchal thinking and other things like that. Saying when you enter into a contract and they say you have to be of sound mind and body, it's because they used to call disabled people unsound. That was a word that was very common. So when you hear that word, that's ableist. That is it's culturally, its etymology is ableist. Now, I mean, using it in the proper context is one thing, but using it in those contexts, it's because they used to have institutes for the unsound, for the dumb and deaf and mute and unsound and stupid and the R word. And so it's really crazy because we're not, human to human, we're not doing it on purpose. It is literally baked into our cultural zeitgeist. Word. This is taught to us in schools. It's generationally passed down to us from our grandparents and our parents. Our generations, I think, are trying to break that cycle. I see a lot of that with
we have been for a while, and then some of it is regressing. But
they continue to move the goalposts or change the narrative, and it's hard to beat propaganda, sadly. And unfortunately, the large majority of human beings, thinking is hard, and it's scary. And change
now
is
you
also hard.
Now you have ChatGPT that you can talk to and think for you. Well,
and I got a big wake up call this week where so they switched to a new AI, and all these people are genuinely upset because they don't like the way that their friend ChatGPT is talking to them like their old ChatGPT. And I find that both disappointing, and I feel bad for those people. Because I feel like those people are never going to go to a baseball game or a wrestling show or a live theater or just out to a church picnic or anything. Yeah. It's too bad. I've had so much fun going all around the country and I've gotten lucky. Yep. I've been really lucky. Yeah. But to meet all you people and all the different people I've met in my life doing Ren Fair, doing wrestling, that's a sad state of affairs. Human beings are awesome. They really are. Despite what the internet would have you believe.
Right.
Sam and I have never met in person. She's awesome. I send birthday cards to her and her sister. We send sympathy cards to each other when things go on. I feel like Sam's a part of my family.
Yeah, same here. I still feel the exact same way.
So that's
and Mel and I are very similar, and we like sending handwritten things to each other, and we like getting cards in the mail because it sucks getting bills in the mail, and so getting cards in the mail is fun.
Bills and your cyber security has been compromised. That's all I get anymore.
Right.
It's a data breach or a bill.
Right.
It's So I like that. That's why, I mean, I was even telling those collectibles people that was why I wanted to get their info, is because one of my favorite things is to send something where I see something and go, oh my gosh, my friend Kelly would love this thing, and grab it and either give it to her the next time I see her or send you guys something that I see. It's like, oh my gosh, these guys, like sending that JFK book to Mike Gilbert. That, I mean, when I picked that thing up, the first person I thought of, the first thing I thought of, it was like, this belongs with this person, or you know, John Showerhead, his Nixon Showerhead, and his Nixon Agnew pin, and I mean, that's the world that we live in, and I'm cool with it. Like, I think that we are doing a good job. We just have to keep doing what we're doing and try to, you know, those other people can just, I mean, if you want to survive on misery, that's a you problem, I feel like. And I hate that. I hate that for USVA guy. I hate that for Takeshita, who is an incredible talent. I hate that for any community right now that's out there being plagued by the madness that is happening around us. It's we want to talk. We love you guys. And no negging here.
I'm debating over what I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I will just say Sydney Sweeney's commercial does bring up eugenics, which is why that that commercial is very eugenics based. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But
yeah, I don't.
That is the eugenics, to the terms that she used in showing her face as a blonde white woman with blue eyes. That is, whether they intended it to or not, that is eugenics. And so I don't want to go into a whole big thing on that, but
I frankly think they knew exactly what they were doing.
I think they do too.
I knew that they were going to get the outrage, because as the old saying goes, there's no such thing as bad PR.
Right, which I have actually seen in another company, a makeup company, that a company that I have used for years and who has been very much about empowering women, did a social media ad and used a comedian who makes domestic violence jokes, and they released, when they rightfully got called out for it, they released a statement which was a non-apology, like, we hear you, we're listening, but the ad's still up.
We got caught apology,
right? But the ad's still up. They didn't pull it down because negativity, because online, whether it's negative or positive,
clicks matter.
Getting attention, people are looking at it. People are going to be like, because when I opened my phone to the non-apology, and so I didn't know what they were referring to, and so I didn't watch it because I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh, I see what this is, and I was like, I'm not watching this because that's what they want. But you are interacting, but that's what they're doing. That's why they haven't deleted it. So yes, they knew what they were doing by making that a
you should see the car companies around here, how their ads are going. It's so stupid. I've read too much. I've read this book. I know how it ends.
Oh no, we are not Joey Ryan fans here. So if I don't know how to take what you just said.
Just him. I think he got booked with another person this week. So
did he? Okay, I know that he was supposed to, and then it got canceled.
And then it may have got uncanceled, but I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Oh, good Lord.
Or someone else may have. There's never, guys, these are bookers. They're carnies. The promoters and bookers are still carnies. Yeah. There's no bottom for people like this. Like, some of them are great and awesome, and they do awesome jobs. Like what Darius is doing is like a great model for where you want to be with your local community.
Sure.
But that's not, unfortunately, where a lot of the people doing this kind of thing are. And that's true in most of entertainment and athletics, just in general. I mean, the people are like finally realizing the NCAA is messed up. Like, welcome to the party. I've been playing soccer since I was 5. My uncle actually worked for the NCAA and the NCAC back in the 90s. It's what FIFA and the International Olympic Committee and NCAA are corrupt, and GAA, what? Giant sports corporations are screwing over athletes and making bajillions of dollars. It sounds like there's a pattern to all this madness.
Right. Could be.
Whatever. We should
Yeah,
talk about. I
we
want to
should.
hear because, and I want to do this segment because hilariously, when I saw Sam's tweet about,
Oh, we're gonna get to the Forbidden Door
we're
matches
going to the
first.
Forbidden Door
Well,
matches
you know
first.
what?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Go ahead. Let's do this one. We'll go ahead and talk about it.
All right. I just want to be ready because
No, we're going to talk about it. No, we do. Tony Khan is back with the "What are we doing here?" So he is, which I guess you could even say for maybe even some of the Forbidden Door matches we're going to talk about. But we'll go ahead. We can talk about it now. So
it's out of order, guys. I'm a
so
little off today.
we watch. That's okay. It doesn't matter. We got to talk.
I just have to say this. I went on Twitter, and this is why it's funny to me, because I asked, should I just clip Sam saying, "What are we doing here?" And she said to me, it's already in the notes. And I hadn't looked at the notes yet. But so when I went in the notes to look in there, I was like, it is in the notes. And it popped me quite a lot. It actually popped me pretty good. I was like, it is in the notes.
Yes. So Thursday night, I haven't watched Friday because Friday. So there were 2 episodes of ROH last week. Thursday it was on its normal time, and then Friday they had a YouTube show that was like an hour and a half, and I haven't had a chance to get to it yet. I saw a couple of things from it. I just haven't. I prioritized G1 since it ended today, and so it ended today. And I was like, and then now that's over, I can go back because I still need to watch. Still need to watch Athena's show that she did last Saturday. It was the all women's show. I still have to go back and watch that, but I was like, let me get through the G1. So. But Thursday, right before the lone women's match on Thursday's episode of ROH, an ad airs or a promo airs, and it's Mina Shirakawa, and she's wearing her hands in a brace because it got broken at All In in the match against or when she faced Athena in the gauntlet match, her hand was broken. We haven't seen her. And the night before that, Amina won the interim TV title because Red Velvet is injured and can't compete. So they did a tournament, or not a tournament, they did a 4-way match, and the winner became the interim champion, which was Mina. Mina wins it. Next day, she gets injured. So she's not even been able to defend her interim women's championship. But for some reason, she has laid out a challenge to Athena for Death Before Dishonor, which is August the 29th. So the Friday after Forbidden Door, and has challenged her for the women's title, even though she is the current interim women's TV champion and is not defending that title that she's never once defended. She won it and got injured the next day. Never defended it. And she says, "You broke my hand, so I want a title shot. You're at 68 wins, but you won't 69, Mina." Is the promo they cut, and so that's what I don't know what we're doing here. Once again, ROH women's booking. I mean, and as I tweeted Thursday, this is ROH booking of women in the women's division for this year for sure. Probably even take it back to last year. That's kind of encapsulate how their booking is. They in the beginning they were booking the women's division, or at least the stuff with Athena, they were booking really well, and now they're just kind of like, oh, we have a show here, damn. Like in storyline it makes sense because Mina's hand was broken by Athena, so sure, she wants revenge on her, but you have your own title that you've never once defended, but now you want that title. Her title's not even on the line. So and then Mina showed up on Collision last night. Right. And so she's back in AEW television, but she is I like on the ROH. I know that Athena has pretty much beaten everybody there is to beat. And so she has not faced Mina for the ROH title, but like, why are we doing this? Because this show again comes 900. Athena will be at 993 days as champion at Death Before Dishonor. She's clearly gonna make it to 1,000 because if she loses it at 993 days, I'm gonna kick Tony Khan in the shin, or send somebody to kick him in the shin for me, because that would be very dumb. But now we have this, and the match is gonna be fine. It just So they can't book the women's division. You know, they're finally getting it together in AEW. There's still some, of course, there's still some holes there, but they have vastly improved. But the ROH women's division is regressing. And then, as we've talked about before, like, Athena eventually is going to drop that title, hopefully dropping it, not vacating it. But regardless of however they get it to the next champion, like, you haven't built anybody up to be a champ. Like, how do you follow a woman who's held your title for 3 years? How do you, and you just throw her in random matches, and you've not built anybody up to take that title from her. So even if the 1,000 days wasn't in play, like, you haven't built Mina up to dethrone Athena. Like, it's a clearly weird. I look at this and I'm like, oh, Athena's winning this because they haven't done anything to build Mina into this. And again, like, the storyline is there when Athena broke my hand, so now I need to face her for the title. But it's very sloppily done. But that is on brand for ROH, especially when it comes to their pay-per-views. This pay-per-view is the 29th, and I believe, unless maybe I've missed it because I haven't watched Friday's episode, but if I'm not mistaken, only 2 matches have been made, and there's matches in 12 days. I mean, the show is in a little more than 12 days, I think. And if I'm doing the math right, it's in 12 days. There's been 2 matches, which is on brand for them. That's how they tend to book things, but it's just a constant, what are we doing here? Because nobody seems to know.
I mean, having not watched it, obviously, but it still, that's just weak sauce. Like,
yeah,
so they're just gonna kind of throw together a Death Before Dishonor. And
yeah.
With this new,
and they moved the show up a week because of supposedly, so Tony Khan didn't have to miss a wedding that he had already RSVP'd to, and he's never missed an ROH or AEW show ever in its history, and he doesn't want to start now, so they bumped the show up a week because originally Athena would be coming into Death Before Dishonor on day 1,000 of her title reign, but now she's coming in at 993, right, which is why I was like, she better win it. You better not make her a week out from getting to 1,000 days and dropping it. And so then, obviously, the question we've had a lot and we've talked about a lot is, when does she drop it? Like, you get her to her 1,000 days, but Final Battle's not till December. They're not going to have her, now that she's competing in AEW, and she's competing for the AEW Women's Championship at Forbidden Door. So if she wins at Forbidden Door, clearly you have her with 2 belts, and people are, have fussed about that too. And so if she does come out of this where she is 2 belts Athena, I don't think she holds 2 belts for very long. I assume what's going to happen is, I really am wholeheartedly against her vacating the title, but that is definitely an option. Or because they like to defend ROH titles on AEW television, Athena is gonna have a title match,
thousands match on like Dynamite or Collision,
and then she'll get to her 1,000 days. I think she gets to her 1,000 days, and then she will defend her title, and she'll drop it out on AEW television, which you and I had wondered if that's why they've been bringing Billy on TV with her.
Yeah, so it seems like that's where they're going.
If Billy does defeat, if Billy finally defeats her for, this will be her 3rd time challenging for the title. If Billy finally beats her, and they do it on AEW television, then people at least know who Billy is. They know that's her protege, that's her minion.
Is there a Grand Slam coming up at all? Something like that, or a Blood and Guts type show? You know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, so there's no like named like Dynamites coming up or anything like that, like branded, because that would be. I mean, if you're not going to do it on a pay-per-view,
I take that back. There is a Grand Slam, and I think they are doing a Grand Slam in September, because when they did the Grand Slam in Australia, Tony did say that they were not, because people were like, oh, does that mean you're not doing Grand Slam in September? And he was like, why would we not? And so I don't remember them announcing it.
I don't think they've announced it, but I just felt like, what if they have like because
one
of their names shows like a Grand Slam or
and you can't wait till Winter is Coming, because of that rate, you might as well just wait for Final Battle.
Right, exactly. So just wait for Final Battle. But if you want to get it off and you want to build a story, if that's in September, that would be, if you're going to do it on AEW television and it's not a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs to be at least at one of the big name branded shows that's either out of the nation or in one of the big cities, or
And you know,
maybe
they
are going back to Jacksonville soon. So
yes, they are going to Daly's Place. They are going to do the show, and then they are because they're getting ready to do this residency at the 2300 Arena. Is
in
coming
Chicago.
up soon. The 2300 Arena in Philly. They're getting
Oh,
ready
that's in Philly. That's
where
what am I talking about?
the Chicago's already done. Yep, they're doing the ECW Arena.
Right.
They're doing because that's where Death Before Dishonor is. That is kicking. They're like that weekend is kicking off the residency.
If those
there.
tickets are reasonable, that would be a pretty good draw considering
So,
that's a decent town.
Yeah,
for
so I guess
wrestling.
it's possible that they do a show at the 2300 Arena, but where Athena drops the title. But yeah, a branded show like a Grand Slam would make a lot of sense. But I don't. They haven't announced a Grand Slam yet, and I know they're also trying to block counter booking, so that may be another reason they haven't announced it yet. But that's typically during the week. That they do those. It's typically a Wednesday.
Yeah,
they do a Dynamite and a Collision the last 2 times that they've taped them together and done them both there. So
and it's usually like a super show like Blood and Guts was when we were here.
Right. So that would be the perfect place to do it if I assume because he said they were going to do another Grand Slam.
I mean, I just feel like if it's not going to be on an ROH pay-per-view, it needs to be on an important Dynamite or Collision. It can't just be on.
No, I would.
It certainly can't just. No offense, but it's just. I mean, I guess it could, but it would really suck if it ended up on Collision. Honestly. Yes,
it would.
Because that just. I know Athena's great, and she is going to be a big star on the main roster and so forth, or on AW television or whatever you want to call it. But it's that kind of is like. That sucks because
which also makes me think that once Athena drops the title, the booking is going to get even worse
in ROH. Well, and unfortunately, I read this week because the boys were sharing newsletter excerpts from like Puck and things like that.
Yep.
And there was a report that came out that Tony Khan Nick Khan and his ilk are committed to never having Tony Khan have another television deal ever again. That's part of their like business strategy.
Yeah, we're gonna get that into a bit more when we get to the WWE buying TNA.
It's unfortunate that that's a little. I mean, I'm glad. I'm very, 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 very grateful that Tony owns the ROH library and has continued to do any ROH. But it's sad what's happening here because it looks like they're going to be transitioning a lot of this onto the AEW television.
Right. Yeah, and I am firmly one of those people who I want ROH television one way or another, whether that's on Honor Club, because there is too much talent that they can't fit on TV, and they need to be utilizing them. Like,
and they don't have Dark anymore, and they don't have Elevation, so they need something.
They need stuff down there, and they need to do again. Just give the book to Bryan Danielson. Make it his problem. Just make it Bryan Danielson's problem, and let him take the book because. It has got to be. I mean, I know Chris Hero's involved where he is, but I'm sure there's only so much he can do when Tony's the one who is,
Well, he's serving multiple masters, especially this time of year.
And all decisions go through him. Like he's the final say on everything. So
it's football season. It's football season. It's wrestling season. It's
all the time.
I mean, this is the worst time of year because now you've got the Panthers and. The over the pond football playing.
You got the Jaguars. He's not involved with the Panthers.
I'm sorry. I got my I got my down south teams. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's because
Well, no, they did. There were deals. There were talks. They were very close apparently to putting them onto True TV. There was just some things fell through, but from what's been reported. It's been very close because they've gone back a couple times because they were showing Dynamite on True TV on Friday nights after SmackDown, and then they quit for a while because they were showing like Savannah Banana games and things like that. But they have a couple of Fridays ago they were airing it again, so it seems like maybe they are testing that again. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but True TV is in the Warner Brothers thing. So,
although it's Paramount Skydance just merged, they were talking about potentially buying WBD's either their properties or the whole kit and caboodle. So that would make it. I mean, that would be wild. I don't know what that would happen.
Yeah.
Although, I was saying to Bob last night, Showtime is under that umbrella. And if people remember, if they're combat sports fans, Showtime had boxing and MMA on there quite a bit. Showtime boxing was a big deal back in the day.
Yeah,
My dad and I used to watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch boxing, but yeah, it was big for Showtime for a really long time.
And then when they had like Strike Force and stuff, Bob and I used to watch that occasionally and stuff too. Right. So they have the infrastructure inside of the Paramount umbrella because they have the Showtime connection. That Showtime used to do really excellent sports stuff, just like HBO used to. Both networks had excellent. I'm pretty sure Inside the NFL started on Showtime and moved to HBO, if I remember right.
Yeah,
and that was like, you had all the even the voiceover guy whose name is escaping me right now. But I mean, you had like the voice of the NFL doing the highlights and everything. That show was awesome. I miss those kind of shows.
Yeah. So Brad says that there are 3 matches because a pure match has been announced as well. And he also pointed out that the Friday ROH was much better than Thursdays, and Thursdays was pretty solid. Yeah, Thursdays was a pretty solid show, so I'm looking forward to Fridays, and also I know on the Friday show is the Workhorsemen are on there. So,
nice. So the pay-per-view looks good. Does the card look good? I mean,
there's only 3 matches announced.
So those 3 are the 3.
That's it. There's 3 matches. Yeah, and then I guess they're getting ready to announce. If they haven't already, they're getting ready to do the QT Marshall and Paul Walter Hauser match, which everybody is clamoring for because who can't get enough.
Is that the 29th?
Yeah.
Friday the 29th, is that right? Or?
Yep.
Wow, so that's not very far away.
Tony Khan is not selling ROH. That's not happening. That's not happening. Crash says Brian Danielson booking ROH seems like a great idea. Could be what's happening this week with the AW booking, maybe a sign of when workload spins out of control for TK. No. I mean, I would like him to give some of that control up, give that, and let somebody else have the book because he's struggling and has been struggling for a very long time.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot for any person. I don't care who you are. That's stretching yourself pretty thin, no matter who you are.
You will never convince me. I'm sure it's fine, but you will never convince me to want to watch a QT Marshall match. It's not happening. I will never be convinced. But yes, go see. So they've been building this QT and Paul Walter Hauser match since before All In and all that crap. And they kind of left it alone. Then Paul did commentary on Collision last Saturday and kind of reignited things. Oh, and he went on a podcast too and was talking about QT and how QT threw a drink on him and he didn't realize at first. He thought it was just water, but then he could smell it was alcohol and he thought that was QT trying to get under his skin because he has been, or trying to provoke him because he has been sober for like 3 years or something like that. So that's the whole thing. But yeah, so apparently that's a match that somebody thinks that we want, and we're getting that at some point.
I just wish he would have taken the library and put it on to all of the whatever. I mean, I hope the library goes up somewhere. And
the $9.99 for I get it. The money's tight. You have to figure out what you're going to buy. $9.99 for Honor Club is worth it. The entire library is right there on top of weekly ROH shows. That's where their pay-per-views are on Honor Club. So for $9.99, you get the library, you get ROH television, and you get the pay-per-views once a month. Or not once a month, every few months. And so, I mean, it is a good deal. It's just Tony he just has a problem booking the shows for it. But, they do seem like they're going to try to finally are getting around to utilizing their YouTube channel more, which they need to be doing. Yes, I'm so excited. I do want to see, I can't wait for Jordan Oliver's ROH debut. Tony booked this show just for Kathy, Billy McWayne, and Jordan. Finally, I
know Billy is one of Kathy's absolute favorites. Yes. So,
and love Jordan. I'm so excited for him. Jordan's great. I've watched him a lot in GCW over the last 2 years, and he's very, very good. But yeah, so let's get over to these Forbidden Door matches that were announced this week. So speaking of Nick Wayne, Nick Wayne, he and Kip have broken away from Christian and have said basically they're coming for Christian. And then a few weeks ago, we saw Cope talk to Christian and told him to go find himself. Christian went away. It apparently only took him 2 weeks to find himself, which good for him.
Nice, good job.
Only took 2 weeks. Good job, Christian.
Lucky him.
And so, FTR came, or no, so Cope wrestled Stoke. Stoke was going through it in his promo, and then also we got a really cool. Lo got a really nice shout out. She was wearing her. There was a girl in the crowd wearing one of the wrestling wind down Hangman shirts, and Cope asked her a question, and so you can see very clearly a wrestling wind down shirt. So she got on national TV with that, which was good for her. I mean, she frequently gets, like, you'll see the pay-per-view, you can spot her brand, which is always a cool thing to see. So I was like, that's prime. You got Cope talking to her. Yeah, I was like, can't get much bigger than that. So,
yeah, I think it was like Brad or somebody caught it, and I just love that when I saw it
because I could see part of it in the crowd, and I was like, I think that's a wrestling wind down shirt. And then he talked to her, and me and you were like, oh my god, it is! It's the Hangman shirt. So very cool. And Lo posted it. She got a clip of it and posted it to Wrestling Wind Down social media.
That's so awesome for her.
Very cool.
I was very excited when that someone pointed out, because I didn't catch it right away, and then I was like, I know her.
Yeah.
Plus, like she said, it's like what all our artist friends here in the chat too is when you see your work out in the wild, it's really exciting.
Hopefully maybe one day we'll see a Powerbombshells shirt on AEW television.
Hey man, they're very bright and beautiful.
Yeah, so. Maybe we'll see one out in the wild someday. We'll see. That would be very cool. So I can imagine.
It's so fun. A few years back when we did take my mother-in-law to SmackDown when we were, because she had never been to any of those kinds of shows.
Right.
We were wearing Kyle's the One Red Tea Master there. We were wearing his t-shirts, and we were close enough that they did a pan over and people did catch us on television in his shirt. So he was able to do the same thing for SmackDown.
Very cool.
It's like, and I made a little meme of it, and I was like, as featured on SmackDown television.
So if one of you would like to buy a shirt and wear it to a wrestling show,
that's it. That's the place. And there's a lot of fun stuff on there, and not just our shirts too. There's so much cool stuff on Kyle's. I realized that I have all Kyle graphic shirts and wrestling shirts. That's my whole collection of shirts. And then I have like 2 Doctor Who shirts and a handful of Star Wars shirts, because as a kid, it was the Star Wars desert when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So and I was such a huge fan. I was like digging for properties. Well, nowadays it's just, you can buy it everywhere. So I've been filling in the gaps of things that I didn't get to get as a kid. Like Bob and I bought ourselves like the silly lightsabers. I'd love to have the FU money to go to Disney and get the real one, but
right.
That's FU money level, and I don't have that right now.
Yeah. So obviously we had that, and then FTR had to come get involved. They got involved. They weren't supposed to, but of course they don't follow the rules. And so somebody needed, Cope needed somebody to come help him. And lucky for him, Christian found himself and also found Spike. So he brought Spike out there. He's, FTR scatters. Then Nick and Kip get involved because Christian's out there. So they come and they get involved too. And then they clear the ring, and Christian and Cope back into each other, and then realize, hey, we're in the ring together. And as you can see from the picture of our slate, Christian is handing Spike back to him. And immediately we get a match announcement for Forbidden Door that Cope and Christian are going to be facing Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian at Forbidden Door. So good for Kip getting on Forbidden Door, because it is in London and he is British, and so good for him, because they usually find a way to use Kip on those shows. I think they put him in. I think the last time they put him on, I think they put him on. I can't remember if they put him in the pre-show or if they had him like doing like stuff where they were just talking to him, because that's what they did with Anthony Ogogo. I assume they're going to do that with Anthony again this year because Anthony is back. He's back in ROH, helping out with Shane Taylor Promotions. So I'm sure they'll find something for him to do. So they couldn't find room for Brian Keith at All In, but I'm glad they found room to get Kip on that card. And I like Kip, and Kip can actually wrestle, so it's nice to see that he can still go. And as I saw this, and then Brad reminded us that the last time Cope and Christian teamed for a pay-per-view was 25 years ago. Nick Wayne wasn't born for another 6 years.
Thanks, Brad. Thank you for that.
Yes, I saw that too. I saw somebody else say that. So yeah, fun.
All right, now that's enough of that.
Yes, it is very rushed. And then of course, Cope and Christian is the reason that now we have Bubba Ray out here challenging the Hardys a few weeks ago, because he was like, "Hey, Christian and Cope are about to get together. We can't. The Hardy Boys have the TNA titles. I need to be involved in this. So me and Bubba are going to wrestle. We're going to challenge." So he just comes out there and Bubba Ray just challenges the Hardys for their titles for the show in October. Devon has said that this will be his last match. So for those of us who were fans of the TLC matches, this is for us, except for nobody asked for the Dudleys. Not me.
It's only about 20 or 30 years.
Yeah. Maria says that as a woman, she feels that the word bitch and hose are being used way too much in AEW. I don't have an issue with like Okada saying bitch but I get it. But Athena has used it a lot. Tony's used it a lot, but Tony uses it when she's talking about herself usually, like saying that she's a balcony bitch. So I guess it depends. And I get it. This is not to invalidate how Maria feels. So I guess maybe sometimes it's the context, but yeah, I would wish that because I don't like I'm not a fan of the word hose either, but Stoke is the one who used it and I know what they're doing. But yeah, and now they have Stoke has a shirt and it has Stoke's head on it, and then it says hose for, and then it's Stoke's head, and then there's 2 hose drawn on it, the gardening tool. So not everything needs to be a shirt, but you know, I guess if you're going to make money, they'll do it. But yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I'm not a fan of it. There are some other, for me personally, there's some, I'm not a fan of the slut shaming that Christian and Big Bill were participating in a few weeks ago. I'm not a fan of the slut shaming at all. So, but I get it, Maria. I totally get it. And this is, again, going back to some of the stuff we were talking about words that were stopped being used, and now they're kind of, being used again. Yeah, Crash says someone mentioned TK is probably looking forward to the Toronto show in September regarding Copeland and Christian. It seems rushed, but that thought you'd plan ahead of time for that. Yeah, so they're definitely doing, like we've been saying that Mel and I have been saying that for weeks, that they're doing Cope and Christian in Toronto. You're muted.
Sorry, it just seems obvious to me that seemed a little obvious to me that we were getting that they were finally doing it. Yeah, especially for Canada. Makes sense.
That's when we were trying to figure out if they would have FTR FTR would win this tag tournament, beat Hurt Syndicate, go into Toronto as champions, and then turn around and drop them to Cope and Christian in Toronto, which I don't like the idea of, but I can absolutely see that being what happened. Even though Brodito had a really, really good match last week, that tournament match for them to advance when they beat the Young Bucks. That was a fantastic match. So, and then of course you can't have Collision without FTR apparently. So last night, FTR was beating up Bandito backstage, and Brody King came and manhandled them. Then they fought. The fight spilled out, and then they spilled out into the ring, and Brody cleaned house a little bit, but then FTR ended up getting Stoke put powder in Brody's eyes, and then FTR, so they got the upper hand, and then one of them Stoke, I think it was wearing Bandito's mask. So, thanks for cutting. I mean, the women ended up getting decent time, but they did that right before the women's match because FTR's got to be on TV all the
Well,
time.
they have to be everywhere right now.
They have to be in the collisions. Crash the Edge segment with the crowd on Dynamite. I'm sorry, maybe I'm in the minority here, but it was very cringe. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was just it is what it. I mean, I guess it got over what it needed to do, but I'm like, just beat Stoke, and I enjoyed the Stoke portions, like where he tried to spear Edge and just or Cope and like nothing happened. Like I enjoyed that a little bit because it was funny, but yeah, the in the crowd stuff was the kind of, and they put the woman on the spot like that, and I was just like, that's kind of gross. I mean, at least it got the picture, got the she got the Lowe's shirt on TV, so there was that. But yeah. John was talking about wearable garbage. Wait, hang on. That's the comment moved. That he said big thumbs down for fast fashion, for wrestling and fast fashions. And then he said so much wearable garbage gets produced. And then Crash pointed out that Yo's idea of fast fashion is a big thumbs up. He digs the Ziploc look. That was funny. So yes, Yo, and we talked about it before, but during BOSJ, and I mean he's done it since then and before then, but in BOSJ, Yo's jacket and pants that he would wear to the ring were made out of Ziploc bags. And literally. John points out that he probably keeps the protein powder in it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. And hey, but at least he didn't get banned from Japan for protein powder. Like
right, for protein powder.
Yeah, it was the WWE brain still very much creeps in on some of these people. Christian is very much, I mean, he did it in TNA, so I think Christian's brain is just there. But Big Bill was doing it. Edge is doing, I mean, I know Stoke is the one who said that he can't get any hoes, but then Cope is out here asking women,
Yeah, and I mean, I guess when you get into that context, it's like you can't get any hoes, and then he goes out and asks a woman if she would date him. It's like, well, that obviously intimates that she's said hoe, I guess. So in that context, it actually does come off as a little
yeah.
So I can understand
he clearly, her reaction, she paused and she said, "Is this a serious question?" And then he was like, "Yes," and then so she says, "No." But who expects in 2025 for a wrestler to jump the barricade on national TV and asked, did she? I missed her putting her hand up. Because John says, to be fair, he asked if there was any hoes in the audience and she put her hand up. I completely missed that. So, I mean, I guess there's that. But I completely missed that. If so, then I guess that changes.
Fair enough. I mean, if she's volunteering for it, then.
Yeah, I totally missed that part.
I mean, the spot was a great spot. I get it. I acknowledge people's feelings, and they're valid, and
No, I know that's what he was asking. That she was asking if Stoke was having a chance for. Yeah, I mean, I think that she was asking. But yeah, if she raised her hand, then
she put herself in. Especially if you're in an interactive environment like wrestling or theater, you put yourself in a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that match is happening. So clearly, Cope and Christian are going to get the win here. Sorry, Nick or FTR is going to get. Maybe it's that FTR is going to get involved, cost Cope and Christian the match, and then that's how we get Cope and Christian versus FTR at All Out.
Yeah,
could be that.
I mean, it makes sense
because Nick and Kip need the win because of the story that they're telling, and they're trying to say that they're successful. They can be successful without Christian, so they need the win more than Cope and Christian do. But you also can't have Cope and Christian losing their first match together, pay-per-view match in 25 years. So you could potentially get around both of those by having it end in a DQ because FTR cost them the match. So you could have that.
Get into that kind of convoluted stuff, so that
seems that would be the perfect way for them to do it, and I could absolutely see it happening. Let's see now. So yeah, the other very interesting match that got announced for Forbidden Door This is the one that if you want to see a reaction, go
Yes.
watch Stephen Conway in that clip that I told you about, because I mean, Jeremy had some funny stuff too, but Stephen is not here for this match. So instead of getting Tana versus Shibata, this was the perfect place to do it. I mean, potentially, I know there's the evil portion of this, but perhaps Tana has convinced the powers that be to let him wrestle Shibata in his final match at the Tokyo Dome. Perhaps that's why we're not getting this here. Shibata should. I was like, well, could you not just put? I mean, I guess because you'd have to have the ops in this match, but I'm like. So I was like, well, maybe that's why they're not doing Shibata versus Tana here. Maybe Tana convinced the powers that be to let him wrestle Shibata, but they could also be doing Tana versus Evil, because he has to vanquish Evil once and for all, or whatever bullshit. So anyway, Shibata is not in this match.
How do you really feel?
Just throwing it out there. But yes, so we are having Will Ospreay, who was injured a few weeks ago and will not confirm with Renee whether he's cleared or not. Just was like, no, this is the match we're doing. So opening of the match, or the opening of the show, Ospreay comes out and challenges Jon Moxley and the Death Riders to a lights out cage match.
Yeah.
Tells Renee backstage. So Renee's like, you said you were injured. Next looks up and he's just like, he kind of bypasses her and was like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever. I just came from Tony Khan's office. He didn't know about this match. He didn't know it was going to be a cage match, and he didn't know it was going to be a lights out match. But Tana is coming with me. So Tana is in this match. And we're like, what?
See, huh?
And then they, so we don't know, and Darby Allin we know is in the match at this point. And he's like, and then I got a couple other guys. We got to make sure, we got to get them, to make sure that this is what they want to do. And then they, later on in the show, I think it was either Alicia or Renee, talks to Mox and was like, hey, what do you think about Will Ospreay challenging you to a lights out cage match? And Tana's in it. And then Mox apparently doesn't know anything about it. And it was like, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace, is in this match. Just okay, so he clearly doesn't know. So obviously it's him and Claudio and Yuta are in this match. Apparently it sounds like Pac was going to be out for a while because he tore his bicep. Or no, he tore his pec, I think is what it was. He tore his pec off. It was either a torn pec or a torn bicep. Regardless, Pac isn't cleared and probably won't be cleared for a while unless they're keeping him off TV and he returns in England to get involved in this match, which is certainly possible. So then we throw up a graphic at the end of the show to find out who the rest of the people are in this match. And so on the one side, Jon Moxley and Claudio Death Riders have enlisted. Oh, actually, no, Yuta's not in this match. It's a 5-man. So Yuta's not in this. He's the odd man out. Claudio and Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks, because that is right, there was the thing, they went into the dressing, that's right, they went into the Young Bucks dressing room and Marina kicked out the other two people who were in there and they shut the door. So the Young Bucks are now in this match, and Gabe Kidd, who just missed the G1 because he hyperextended his knee in the first match of the tournament, could not compete in the tournament due to the hyperextended knee. He tried to give it a couple days, wasn't enough, withdrew, forfeited all his matches. But apparently, I know hyperextensions, they can heal. So I don't know how injured he is heading into a cage match. Then on the other side of this is Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, who just got back from Mount Everest, President Tanahashi, who just competed in the G1, whose knees are not in great shape and haven't been for some time. And their partners are Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, which we have not seen either of them since the All In show. So we already know Kenny's health history. Kota appeared, he's had some ankle injuries. He's had some good showings in his matches back in AEW, thankfully. but I guess he's healthy-ish. Maybe he and Darby are the healthiest two people in this side of the match. But yeah, that's the Forbidden Door match that we're getting here, and yeah. And the only thing I can think is Tana saw them do a cage match and was like, I want to do that before I retire. Can I do that at Forbidden Door, please?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he's never done one, it'd be good. And he can get a little crazy at Forbidden Door. I hope he doesn't hurt himself, and kind of compromise his ending there.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, agreed. It's
For
kind of,
everybody.
I'm already chanting "Please don't die" in my own head.
I was just looking at this match. Like, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think I love cage matches. I think we've seen what a lot of them can do. And also, I think, you know
what, in a way, though, because I just saw a match that was kind of booked in a way that had to account for wrestlers' like injuries and stuff. I guess it's possible because of the nature of this is that they could put Will out of this early, and he could, you know what I'm saying, is he could do minimal spots in a cage match, take some hits and things like that weren't, but be involved in it and how, like, but not actually, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they could choreograph it the way, in a way such that maybe they take Will out at some point during the thing and he's just out and the rest of his friends have to finish up for him.
Right.
But I mean, they could, even though it sounds crazy because it's a cage match, I feel like with a gimmick match, you could protect him more than if you had him in a singles match or something where he's actually hurt and you're going to see that and it's going to struggle and potentially put him in a position where he actually injures himself more.
Right.
So, because he seems hell-bent on being there, I think the way that you have to do this is he gets in this lights out match and somebody takes him out fairly early in the match and everybody else finishes up for him.
Yeah. And and Crash makes the point, it is a treat for the UK fans. It's Tana's last show in London, which again is why I thought we were getting him versus Shibata, but we can't have nice things unless he's convinced.
Well, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe New Japan has finally just said, F it, we need the money, and they're letting him wrestle. And
they're not, it's not because, like, as
was pointed out by one of our commenters there, Tana is the president of the thing. So
but he cannot clear.
That's true.
He does not have final say in letting, because
their doctors
reason
are
Shibata cannot wrestle for them is they will not clear Shibata to wrestle. That is why he signed with AEW, because New Japan refuses to let him wrestle. They are not going to take responsibility if he gets injured, which is why this would make sense to do it at Forbidden Door. Since he's contracted
with Tony Khan, maybe it's his insurance, and they don't have to
It still probably is. So in that regard, no, Tana does not get the final say. He does not clear. He's not going to go above the owners of New Japan to be able to clear Shibata.
To see what happens there.
I wouldn't mind seeing now. Can he go in there and be extremely convincing? Sure. Absolutely.
Well, he's Tanahashi. I mean,
yeah. So absolutely he can. And as Jeremy and Steven have pointed out many times, they would love his final opponent to be Shinsuke Nakamura because of their relationship, and WWE is not going to let that happen with the relationship AEW has with them. So that match is not happening. So then the other possibility would hopefully be Shibata, but if it's not going to be Shibata, then I think the names that they have thrown out have been either Okada or Omega, being one of the two people that gets to wrestle him for the final time. Hopefully not Evil. But Crash makes a good point that I forgot. So Friday they're doing the Global Wars, which is New Japan wrestlers, ROH wrestlers, and I think CMLL and Stardom are also included in the Global Wars. I could be wrong. I thought that they were. Maybe it's just Stardom and New Japan and ROH. But Despy is going to wrestle, or he thinks that Despy is wrestling on the Global Wars show. They mentioned it on New Japan briefly, and Despy was on commentary for New Japan, I think yesterday. And I hope that they do, because Despy rules, and I hope they can find a spot for him on here. Yes.
Oh, I got it up
okay. Rev Pro are managing it. You know what? Yes. Rev Pro that must be who I'm thinking of, was Rev Pro, which is why I absolutely think Michael Oku's on that card. And I think he's going to get an All Elite graphic
Nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it that
I
weekend.
actually believe that as well.
I think he's going to get one.
I
think
have
he's
good
getting an
reason
All
to
Elite
believe
graphic
that
that
Michael
weekend.
Oku has been on their radar for some time.
Oh, he has, and Tony said at the last paper, because Michael Oku was on Final Battle, and he said you're going to be seeing a lot more of Michael Oku in AEW.
Well, him and
ROH.
Will and him and
then
Rocky.
then Oku dropped the title like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, him and Rocky and him and Will had epic feuds a couple years ago that were like matches of the year candidates by a lot of people. So
thank you. Okay, that he thinks Global Wars is Rev Pro X CMLL X ROH, and I did see Michael Oku actually tweet about it.
That's awesome.
About that show, he tweeted, so he's absolutely going to be there, and he'll probably be All Elite, and unless there's anything else we need to say about the Forbidden Door card, because obviously next Sunday, not Saturday, we'll be here next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. If you missed that announcement, we are here for our pre show where we will run down the card. And our goal is to get you out of here. Our goal is, I know we like to chat a lot and we like to chat with our folks, but our plan is to get done by 12:30 so that you have a half an hour between the end of our show and the beginning of the Forbidden Door show. Yes, we know we will be going on against the AEW show, and there will be wrestling matches happening. It will probably be on my TV as we're talking, but that is our goal, is to get you. We're definitely starting at 10:30 Eastern for sure. We're trying to get you out of here about 12:30, but we will be running down the cards and giving our predictions on what we think is going to happen. So we'll go in more in depth with that, and then we will know. So this Wednesday, FTR faces Brodito, and so we will know by Wednesday who will be facing Hurt Syndicate at Forbidden Door. And then for the women's match, there's a 4-way women's match for the TBS Championship. We already knew it was Mercedes and Alex Windsor, and then Persephone, the CMLL representative. She got added late, like it was like midnight is when that thing came out, and then we are still waiting to find out who the Stardom representative will be in that match. And I guess we will find that. Obviously, we'll find out this week because the show is next Sunday. So we'll have some stuff filling out. And now that the G1 is over, maybe that also we'll see maybe some of the G1 talent. And also, obviously, a Forbidden Door, the big Forbidden Door match that got made last night. So I can't move on just yet because we had the technical spectacle last night, which pained my ass to cover. I was constantly having to pause it, especially because things were going. 2 people were constantly holding 2 other people at the same time, and I was having to pause it and write down what one set of people were doing and the other set of people. So I went back and watched it afterwards so that I could watch it without pausing it. It was really great. I mean, it was great the first time, and I just had to pause it constantly. So the technical spectacle was Daniel Garcia versus Nigel McGuinness versus Hechicero versus Lee Moriarty. And if this match was not to face Zack Sabre Jr. for the title, then Lee Moriarty should have won that match. He was the star of that match last night. They made him look incredible. He's already incredible in his own right. I'm a huge fan of Lee Moriarty's, and I've become an even bigger fan through his pure title reign in ROH, but Lee is phenomenal. And if that's not what we were fighting for last night, then Lee Moriarty should have absolutely won that title. Won that match. It was a really great match. Hechicero continues to blow my mind every time I watch him. He's always inventing new shit. I thought Daniel Garcia looked really good. Nigel looked good. Nigel barely escapes with the win. We all knew the match. We saw the graphic and we were like, oh, Nigel's winning this because Nigel's going to wrestle Zach. Nigel said last night afterwards, he's like, Zach has said this is a dream match for him. This is a dream match for me. I think it's a dream match for a lot of fans, but apparently not certain fans because, as USVA guy pointed out last week, apparently people think this should not be happening at Forbidden Door and that Zach should wrestle Nigel McGuinness, one of the greatest British technical wrestlers on his own time, not in front of British fans for the IWGP title. Because some people in certain fandoms will never be happy about anything. But I, for one, am very happy.
Yeah,
that
I'm
we're
stoked
getting
for that. I
Nigel
mean, I think this is
back.
amazing. I can't like it's been Nigel's dream. He's back in the game, like he's able to do it. I think that's really cool for him. I'm happy that, like, this is a crossover show. There are supposed to be like spectacle moments on it. It's a big power show. I've been to the first two. Like that was
Yeah,
the
you
entire
did.
point. Like,
Right. And like that's what we've
I
complained
think
about,
the
is how
biggest
they've kind
concern
of
that
gotten
most of
away
the people
from.
that are reasonable that I've seen that's sort of a valid comp, like, is how not crossovery it feels this year.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I want it.
That's like
this
I would say the biggest rational complaint about it is that it hasn't felt like previous
No.
years. It's
No,
just,
I want my Forbidden Door to be full of dream matches like this. Who gives
hell
a shit
yeah,
about
that's the entire
throw
that was the
storyline
entire
out the
point.
window? I don't give a damn about storylines.
We
when
got
they're
to
doing
see
a
Bryan
crossover
Danielson
show.
and freaking Zack Sabre Jr. Like,
Right. Yes, I want
mean,
dream matches. I
dream
don't want
matches.
to see.
That's
I
what
mean,
this
for
is.
me,
This is supposed to be a spectacle card. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
it's supposed to
and
be
there's
packed
not
full of
enough
dream
of it on
matches.
this card. I'm annoyed at how many AEW versus AEW matches are on this card. Save it for All Out. I don't.
Well, yeah, you've got another pay-per-view coming up in 7-8 weeks. So
Yeah, I'm firmly, if this is supposed to be a true crossover show, then that's what I want. I want it. And I know it's right. And somebody was complaining, well, they shouldn't have done it so close to G1. Well, I believe it's a banking holiday in. And they had to move. Obviously, they had to move Wembley because of another concert that was there. Coldplay had booked that weekend like 7 years ago.
It's hard. I mean, the hardest thing about, like, this is true for like what I used to do with kids. It's finding places to put the kids to play soccer, finding a space to run your event, finding a.
Well, and then also there's a certain company also running a European show next Friday. They'll be in Dublin.
Of course they will. Of course they will.
So,
because
that was part of the reason they had to wait to announce it, because they had been in London a few months before, and so they had to.
I'm sure they're just going to
Ireland
for a holiday,
if I remember correctly, AEW and New Japan had to scramble to find another venue, and then they had to wait to announce it because they had to wait because the WWE show was already happening. They had to wait, and so that affected it too. So the scheduling has not been ideal for this show, but I'm hoping now that the G1 is over. And Eddie, I am gonna disagree with you wholeheartedly. New Japan, Zack Sabre Jr. is literally one of the biggest stars in the world.
I don't know. Shingo Takagi and Yota
and then I was
Tsuji are
about to
pretty
say,
awesome.
Besides Zack, Shingo Takagi, who made it all the way to the semis of this tournament, had a great tournament. Yota Tsuji just barely missed making to the finals. So and I know some people have not been on board with Tsuji. I have been. I'm a huge fan of his.
I like him a lot.
A lot of people said that match that he had, like they were like, now I see it, like he's finally. There were a few of them like they liked him, but they were like there are a few things that are missing for them, which I get it. But then after that, they're like, oh, I see.
You've got Hiromu Takahashi. You've got El Desperado.
Yes.
You've got
Hiromu is wrestling Kyle Fletcher. I was so excited.
Yeah, I was hyped for that.
I am so excited that it's Hiromu. Hiromu and Kyle Fletcher are going to tear it down. They're going to have an excellent show. And I think, there are, and yes, they are having some issues building up some of their younger guys. Like but Yuya Uemura had a fantastic G1. He is definitely.
Fujita still looks good. He's like,
yes,
Nikki has busting his ass right now.
When we were trying to figure out who Kyle was going to wrestle, I was like, well, it's not going to be Shingo because it's not going to be any of the G1 guys if they're coming on Wednesday. And Nikki said, well, I wonder if it's Fujita because
that'd be awesome.
Because Kyle is, technically a heavyweight as like body wise, but like he is a junior. Like he's done a lot of that type of stuff. Like he can wrestle a Fujita, which is why he's wrestling Hiromu Takahashi, because Hiromu is the epitome for me in Japanese wrestling of a junior wrestler. So like, but yeah, Fujita would have been like a perfect, some people, I mean, maybe they don't see Robbie Eagles and Cesar or maybe ELP, but like they have some really fantastic wrestlers who deserve to be on this card. And
they need to go watch some of those matches because ELP has had some bangers over the years.
ELP had an incredible match during the tournament that was one of my favorite matches. And people were saying if ELP could wrestle like that regularly, he would be a huge star.
Yeah.
And he wrestled, it was, I mean, yes, Takeshita was on the other side of that ring. So Takeshita makes a lot of people look good. But ELP went toe-to-toe with Takeshita on night 2. And it was phenomenal. And ELP had a really great match with Zack Sabre Jr. a few nights later. So ELP, if given the opportunities, I think ELP could be really big for them. And I hope that they figure it out. Yes, please bring everybody from TMDK, including Big Teeth. Yeah, there's been a severe lack of Big Teeth in Japan, and they love him there, and I wish they would bring him back. Yeah, Yoshihashi was having some great, maybe he's not a star, but he had some really great
he's been hitting with people, though. He's been having a really good run lately.
And there was one match where it nearly, like, he did want to Goto's moves because, we did it on Zack because Zack is the reason that Goto is not the champion anymore, and Yoshihashi nearly got revenge on him and nearly stole a win from Zack. Like, that match was really good. So maybe he's not a star in the typical sense, but he's very good. And I would love to see some of these wrestlers on here, but this card is filling up and they're booking it how they're booking it, which I'm not a fan of. Like, the matches will be great. I just wish it'll be more fun. Crossover. And then yesterday I saw that, or the day before, maybe it was, Sean Dean said maybe at Forbidden Door, Shane Taylor Promotions should wrestle House of Torture because I hear you don't like them. Y'all don't like them. And so I quote tweeted it, and I was like, please do it. And so he retweeted me, and then Nikki, I guess, also responded to, she quote tweeted it, and he retweeted her as well.
That's nice.
So I, for one, would love Shane Taylor Promotions to wrestle House of Torture, and I would love to see Shane Taylor just, like, beat the shit out of Evil.
Beat the crap out of him. That sounds good.
Yeah, right? Yes. He did beat Yoshihashi beat Shingo at the beginning of the tournament. Listen, Tai-Chi is not for me. I'm glad that people have got on board with your Holy Emperor. He is not my Holy Emperor. And the way that Tana is not your president, Tai-Chi is not my Holy Emperor.
I Crash TV, I greatly appreciate it. Not my Dublin. That's funny. I find that funny. That's hilarious. I understand. Don't need them there.
Yeah.
Stay out of my thing.
Oh, yeah. Nikki said she quote tweeted a gift that said, do it, do it, do it. She said he only liked it, but that's fine. Hey, they saw it, and maybe
that song. You got hearted, lady.
Send it to Tony and be like, the fans want this.
See?
But I am never going to turn down Shane Taylor Promotions on my TV, ever. I want them all the time. I want them wrestling. Because they came out with Lee last night, and I was like, weird, because Lee always looks cool with his mask, and I was like, look how cool they look. And I was like, look how much cooler they'd be, because Lee had his pure title on. I was like, look how much cooler they'd be if they all had titles, Tony Khan. You all had them on there, they would look great. And yes, I agree. ELP is a great role model for youngsters. He seems very genuine and great with the young kids in the audience. Yes.
Yeah, he does.
I would agree with that. I really like him. But yeah, so those are the Forbidden Door matches. We'll get into that. Speaking of, so we had last night, going back to Collision, we had the debut of Ace Austin against Ricochet. So apparently on Wednesday, well, it leaked Wednesday night. So we knew Ace Austin, we knew all about this. It leaked Wednesday night because they filmed Collision. And so we knew that Ace was all elite because Tony came out and said it after the show, apparently. So the way they built it up for TV was Ace Austin was visiting some friends because he's from Ohio. They were in Cincinnati. He's visiting friends backstage. He's outside. Alicia is interviewing him. He's talking, and then Ricochet and GOA come up. Ricochet starts talking trash and challenges him to a match this Saturday for Collision. And they had a really, really great match. Ace, I'm a huge fan of Ace Austin and have been since he was on the Indies. Really big fan of his. So I was very excited to see him. Him and Ricochet looked great together. Really fantastic match. Ricochet did end up getting the win. They did not announce during the show that Ace was all elite, but Tony tweeted the graphic. Ace quote tweeted it, talking about it. And so very, very excited. I was hoping that Ace Austin would end up in AEW. And so I am very, very happy that this is where we went. They've been WWE. I mean, AEW has had some really great signings this year, and I think for me, Ace is another huge one. Yeah, and Nikki said that so excited for Ace Austin. He said someone Samantha and I watched in PWX for a while. We did. Nice. So that's where we saw him there, and then like some other indies, and then he does wrestling. When we were watching Wrestling Revolver more often, he was a big part of that. When I did watch TNA, I'm a huge fan of ABC, which is Austin and Chris Bay. One of my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were great. I really enjoyed that stint. That was a good stint there.
Yeah,
he'll be a good fit here. He's a solid wrestler. Like,
yeah, I saw that tweet. Brad said Ace taking a dig at TNA on Twitter was hilarious. Yeah, before the show started, he said it's never been easier to watch me live than it is tonight on TNT and HBO Max at 8 p.m. And Brad said he couldn't stop because we know the TNA is not the easiest channel for people to watch, and so
we'll find that access for you. Good luck.
Yeah,
if it even exists in your area for how many years?
Yeah. Brad says the fact that Ace wasn't at least a 2-time TNA world champion is mind-boggling. He was so over with the fans, and he was close to the title, but they never pulled the trigger on him, which seems to happen with them a lot. See Santana, Mike. But yeah, I am so excited for Ace. I love him. I think Ricochet is a good first match for him, and if that's I assume that feud will continue. I think that's a very good feud for Ace to enter, for fans who are not familiar with his work, to see him. I think that's a really good feud. So I am so excited for him to be there. Which I guess brings us right into the next subject, because speaking of TNA,
you're right.
The latter part of this week has been a lot of chatter about TNA and if WWE would buy them, and it has come out that WWE basically has first dibs on TNA, and not only that, they have the right to decline anybody. So if Tony Khan decides, because Tony Khan he had looked into purchasing TNA before AEW existed. Scott D'Amore also tried to buy TNA and they wouldn't let him, and so he went and started Maple Leaf Pro. So if Tony Khan and or Scott D'Amore, or maybe they come together, maybe Tony and Scott together would like to purchase TNA. If they come to TNA, then WWE can turn them down and tell them no. So that's going to be fun.
Okay, so the way I heard it was, it's not TKO that's buying it. It's that they're getting a group that has a different name. Essentially, as Mike Gilbert put it, they're getting a group of their rich friends to buy it. And it will effectively be a shell company. And the reasoning for that is that if WWE were to acquire TNA, there would be a lot of noise about antitrust and monopoly.
It should be.
Because, and like there always has been with WWE, they've dealt with that for quite some time now.
Yep.
Even when back in the Ted Turner days, that was something that he was bringing up quite a lot, was that
MLW even took them to court like a couple of years ago,
as they should have,
blocking them.
The idea is
blocking them from getting on Tubi.
Well, that's it, like right there. So them being able to say no to Tony Khan is really tenuous legal ground. So what they're actually, from what I understood of what the newsletter guys were saying, is that it's not directly TKO. It's that like Tony or Nick Khan and those guys all got a bunch of their rich buddies that have a company. They're going to buy TNA. That way it's not WWE TKO owning all the wrestling companies but Tony Khan. And so it looks like there's 3 companies, but it's actually the same company. It's all of the things, and all of the things that you're saying are also true.
Yes,
because it will essentially be a shell company for WWE.
Yep. Yeah. So the how this all came about was John Alba wrote an article for Sports Illustrated reporting that TNA was because this is how it all started. TNA they're open to moving to Wednesday nights, which they tried this before.
That factor too.
That's how the story started. It started with this, and then got out to the other stuff. So TNA's tried this before. They tried to go live on Monday nights before, and it did not work out for them. This was back in the Spike TV days. And so Carlos Silva, who's the TNA president, wouldn't confirm or deny, but basically said, if we were to do that, it wouldn't to be to go to head to head against AEW. It would be for what is best for TNA, which is sure, Jan. Sure, you would,
right.
you would not be. Sure, you would
you
not
believe that I have a bridge in New York to sell you.
Because we also, let's not forget, the original Wednesday Night Wars was NXT going head to head with AEW, and they got killed in the ratings so badly that they had to move to Tuesday night. And somebody called him the other day, Paul Creative got taken off of NXT Creative.
Yeah, he did.
Because of how they punished Triple H for them losing the ratings so badly to AEW. He got punished for it. So regardless of being the son-in-law. But now we know we're here. Now we know what he's doing now. But then this thing from Select had a little bit of information about it. It says that Select got so he wouldn't deny, Carlos Silva wouldn't deny the rumors. And then I guess Select also reached out to him and they got a similar response. It says TNA being on the market is nothing new. We can confirm that there have been feelers from both from the Anthem side to find potential purchasers as well as potential buyers. Scott D'Amore publicly revealed that he had made efforts to buy TNA, which were unsuccessful, which we knew about before they let him go, before they fired Scott D'Amore, the biggest cheerleader they've ever had for that company. He tried to buy them and they said no. And then he was like, well, then I'm leaving. And that's what happened there. It says Tony Khan also revealed that he was approached about potentially buying TNA before AEW started. However, sources have indicated to us that that was a few years ago Khan was approached again and opted against it. One of the people we spoke to said that there wasn't a lot of value for TNA in an AEW purchase, or for AEW to purchase TNA. And so most of the veterans in that company are on the ROH library opposed to TNA's. It says sources for AEW had also heard claims a couple weeks ago that the CW network would be an option. Then shortly thereafter, Wrestling Observer reported that A&E was also reported to carry TNA. Both networks have direct ties to WWE and parent company TKO as they broadcast WWE programming. WWE has internationally spread out all of their broadcasting rights, including Netflix, USA Network, CW, A&E, Tubi, NBC, and Peacock. Much of their Peacock content will be moving to ESPN DTC in 2026. ESPN is also tied to Disney and ABC, Tubi to Fox, and USA Network to Universal. TKO's UFC content will be moved from ESPN to Paramount CBS in 2026. And it doesn't end there, because Brad also says this, and this is how I found about it too. Another interesting connection to the rumors is that former UFC owner Lorenzo Fertitta is possibly being involved. We are told that his name has emerged from the meetings this week, and Conrad Thompson posted an ominous GIF, and apparently the Select cuts off there.
Yeah,
so,
I heard that too.
Yeah. So lots of movement happening there, but regardless, however they're getting around it, whether it's a shell company or whatever, WWE is going to buy TNA. It's been very
it is going to be. It's de facto. You don't. I'm not saying that it's not WWE.
No, that's not at you. I'm just like I mean,
I just to be clear. I mean, this is entirely built to avoid the law. This entire and own. And own as much wrestling as they can.
Right.
They are clearly, you can tell me you're not counter programming all the time, but every day and you, like you said, Tony may not even be announcing Grand Slam because of how hard they've been going on counter programming at this point.
They have already, since they announced the last 4 pay-per-views of the year. And World's End is the last pay-per-view on December 27th. They are already floating the idea that instead of having that they're going to do John Cena's last match, they're going to move it from Saturday night's main event to do it at World's End, to have John Cena's final match go against the AEW pay-per-view.
That's why they are.
Yeah. So
everything that I've read from because the guys, we have a channel for the nerdy stuff that I like. And they are kind enough to, gift a lot of the newsletter stuff that's behind the paywall that actually talks about like the logistics of all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
This is 100% them angling to, they're scared of AEW, period. Like this is, I mean, it should actually hearten wrestling fans in a way. They're super scared of Tony.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be going this hard with this much money in this market to try and throw him away and get him. I mean, they're like going out of their way because, like, I mean, TNA has stars on there still. They've got Joe Hendry, they've got the Hardys, they've got, I mean, I don't know who everyone all is on TNA, but they still have some people that are draws. It's not like it's a total. And of course, they've been like feeding the TNA people on and off. I mean, we all kind of saw this coming.
It's mostly the NXT people who have been in TNA and kind of going back and forth. But like AJ Styles was there at the last, not Emergence. That was the last pay-per-view that just happened on Friday, but the pay-per-view prior to that, AJ Styles was out there. And so like they're putting him on TV. I mean, he didn't end up doing anything. He kind of came out and talked to Leon Slater, and people thought he was going to challenge Leon Slater, and he didn't. I still believe that he'll get inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame soon. That's part of the reason they're doing this. But
it just sucks because it's a hostile takeover of one market, and no one's going to, because of the nature of where we are, no one's going to do a damn thing about it. And it's, this matters because it's not just wrestling that these people are owning. This is media. Yeah. We're like getting down to it being like 6 or 7 companies who own all the media companies in the West. That is not good for humans.
No, it is not. That's the stuff that they've been doing with like telephone companies and like,
correct.
And they got in trouble with it. And with Google owning so much of stuff that they, they
Amazon holding Washington. I mean, Amazon, Jeff Bezos holds the Washington Post servers, dude. This is like, duh. I mean, I'm with you, Brad. I have disdain for them too. It's exactly. They're doing a bunch of like BS. They're using a bunch of loopholes.
Yeah.
So that they can control this company.
And they're also using their relationship with the White House. Don't let them fool you. That's why this is why they're putting that propaganda on TV. They are clearly putting it in your face that Linda McMahon is in the cabinet. And that
we saw Paramount and Skydance, that situation where they cowed to the presidency and literally fired someone like the superstar for no reason so they could get their merger done. That's how much money is at stake with these folks right now. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you like, it's gonna get cold out there in terms of this kind of thing. And I mean, but
now they're trying to buy
like internal people have said that like Nick Khan explicitly is after AEW. It is on his hit list. Like,
well, that's why they keep making all of these agreements with other stations, is because they're trying to.
They're buying anything they can to undercut Tony's footing in the market. Everything they can.
So there's multiple reasons to say fuck TKO. I mean,
oh my God.
Mainly
even just for mainstream media reasons, not just for wrestling. I'm saying like we're talking about combat sports. We're talking about other sports entertainment. We're talking about certain WD, like these are like news.
Like TKO even owns PBR, which is professional bull riding.
Or TNT and TBS are actual stations that show baseball and news and like they have news properties and they show Disney movies. And I mean, this is serious. It's not just a wrestling issue. It's a big giant that creates yet another media monopoly. Mm-hmm. Even though it's in one sphere, it's still like we're now down to like 8 basically companies that own all of media.
Right. Which is terrible for everybody.
It's terrible. And then they're cutting funding for things like PBS and NPR. And those are like, especially for rural communities. Like I grew up in a small town. We really did actually rely on our local like our NPR station. We listened to them a lot. It was like them and the college station because we were a small area. You didn't have a whole bunch of radio stations operating at a big metropolis. We had like a couple places in Portland and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's going to hurt people looking for real anything, whether it's real wrestling or just real information.
And then they're also, by doing this, by having like buying however they're going to do it to buy TNA, you're also trying to drive payment down to wrestlers, because that's been one of the things that they've been really
That's the other thing.
about.
If they monopolize
one
it,
of the
they can
things that
charge whatever they want.
They've been really pissed about AEW paying. Like, they were saying that like Swerve didn't deserve the money that Tony is paying him, and they're pissed that they're paying Mercedes what they're paying her, and that Becky Lynch turned around and was like, well, then I want this, which she should. And and Charlotte Flair was doing that thing, and Randy Orton, who was never ever going to leave WWE, but being a smart person, he said, hey, what would you pay me if I went there? And he had to go through other means to do it because he's still under contract. But Swerve straight up said that they were doing contract tampering, because they contacted Swerve and tried to get him to come back to WWE, and he said, talk to my agent. And then he turned around and called Tony and said, hey, I think you should know about this. They are trying to get me to come back even though I'm still under contract.
This is why having a union would just be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Because if you had a union, no matter how many monopolies you had, they would still have to collective bargain with you.
Right. And
you see that in sports and all the big sports right now.
So
yes, the NHL and MLS and MLB and NHL and NFL have plenty of monopoly on things, but there's also these other issues. I mean,
they all have bargaining, and they all have
collective bargaining. There's a players union. There's a
obviously guild. There's SAG-AFTRA. There's Writers Guild for certain journalists, depending on where they write for. They have them.
I know it would never happen in wrestling, but this is a classic example of why it should have happened in wrestling years ago. Is that now Vince McMahon, I say it like that. I mean, it feels like that because it's my lifetime. But now TKO is effectively going to be in charge of wrestling, and the idea that you get to hold out for leverage on that is going to be, well, do you want to go to the big company or that other company?
Mm-hmm.
And I know Tony has a lot of money, but he doesn't have the same kind of leverage in the market that TKO has.
That's literally how they got Stephanie Vacker. They lowballed her, but then played on the fact that was her dream, was to wrestle for WWE, and that's how they got her, even though they're not paying her. And they did the same thing to Blake Monroe. They played on her dream of being a WWE superstar and being a WWE shot girl, and used that for leverage to get her. And so they're lowball, and they straight up just lowballed these women, but played on the fact that they wanted to be there, which is what they do. I mean, that's what they do. And so this is gonna be a disaster. And
it's not good for wrestling, and it's not good
WWE,
for life.
And a bunch of us called this when WWE and TNA started working together, that WWE was going to do to TNA what they did to the UK scene, and people told us that we were being hyperbolic. When no, we sat there and watched with our own eyeballs what they did to the UK wrestling scene, on top of speaking out and the pandemic. But they all but killed that scene, and they're still recovering. That is what's going to happen to TNA. They're going to kill them there, and this is terrible for wrestling, especially when there's already only really two places to get on TV and make money. TNA is, you can't make a lot of great money with them. You can get on TV to an extent, but there's two companies that you can get on big TV with, and you need competition to survive. You need competition to thrive. AEW forced WWE. WWE's creative was shit when AEW started. It was god awful.
They had to get better.
I quit watching. It was so bad.
Competition forced them to get better. Yes. They had that whole bloodline thing. It was actually interesting enough. Even I watched it for a little while.
Right. They started getting better, but now the last few months because they don't care. They don't
want to work that hard, and they have a lot of money.
They got the Netflix deal, and now they don't care. They got the deal that they wanted, and now their wrestling is crap. Like Friday's SmackDown restarted 3
I heard that. So I was going to ask you about that, because I just saw nothing. I saw people usually people are like, it's too long or it's too, but it sounded like, was it just a total disaster on Friday? It sounded like a dumpster fire.
Boring. It was, so Road Dogg is the head writer for SmackDown and has been for several months. He was the head writer a few years ago, and it was god awful. And I don't know why they thought, let's bring him back, because it was just it's just stalling. Like they're restarting. So instead of putting Tiffany Stratton in a new feud, like they had her feud a little bit with Jade, But instead of having her feud with somebody else, they brought back Nia Jax. We've seen this story. Like, as many times as we saw Hangman and Swerve and we separated them for a while, that's what Nia Jax needs to be away from Tiffany Stratton for at least 6 months. Like, we have done this story to death. It's time, because before Tiffany won the title, Tiffany was with Nia. She was like, shadowed her. She's the one they turned and they did obviously we knew she was going to cash in the Money in the Bank. The way they did it was really cool, though. It was at an unexpected time. So of course, that's her first feud, just because she turned on Nia. They get her away from that. She wrestles Charlotte. That feud was not good. And they put her in where she wrestled Jade, and it was fine. And then they went right back. They pivoted right back to Nia. There's no reason for it. Tiffany, you should be building up new people to try to get this title. So then they also, right around the time that Truth was not going to have his contract renewed, he was beginning a feud with Malachi Black. And then he left, he comes back, cuts his hair. They do a little bit with Malachi. He beats Malachi Black in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. And that was it. And then Friday, now that Truth is a babyface again, they're like, let's revisit that. And so now they're restarting the feud with R-Truth at Malachi Black. Nobody's asking for that. Nobody was like, hey man, they never finished off with that, because nobody cares. Nobody wants that. And then people have been tweeting, we want Mello, which is Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo is a very good wrestler since he's been on the main roster. Even though Triple H doesn't see color, sure can't book him for shit. And they had been booking for a while. He'd been booked with Miz. It was awful. They were a tag team because his Hayes's thing is him, HIM, because he's him, he's the guy. That's his thing. So they made it Oz him. So now the new tag team, they brought him, but they put them back together last week. They had their first, or he started sniffing around him last week. We need to reunite. Mello Don't Miz is what they're calling them. They had their first match Friday night. Match was pretty solid, but Miz stole the win from Hayes was going for, or Mello was going for the win. Miz took it from him, and he has this look of like, I can't believe you did this. And Miz is he's the oblivious white man who doesn't realize what's happening. And now they're wrestling Motor City Machine Guns next Friday.
Okay.
So it's just dumb booking that nobody cares about. And then like on Raw, they just keep running back Rusev and Sheamus week after week. Yeesh. Nobody cares about that feud. It's just a lot of they're falling back into the patterns of just the same old bullshit over and over. And Friday was was
too bad.
Yeah, and that was my hated, was that we are falling back into that. As the kids say, we are reheating nachos. Because we have no creativity, and so we're just doing things we've already done. And it's
which is the reason why them buying more wrestling sucks even harder.
They're selling tickets for now, even though their tickets for pay-per-views are ridiculously expensive, and they're eventually going to price out people, and that's going to be its own thing. But because they've got everything that they want, then they just don't have to. They don't have to try. And then now you have, so not that I want Brock Lesnar anywhere near my TV, but they haven't followed up with that. He still has not been seen since SummerSlam.
Yeah, it sounds like there might be like some plans for something.
They're planning on running. The plan had been, sounded like they were going to do Survivor Series.
Yeah.
With them, but now they're talking about doing it on a night they're talking about moving, because they are doing Bad Blood, which is the same. This is the pay-per-view that is going directly head to head with All Out.
Okay.
At the exact same time, show starts at the same time. They're talking about moving Cena and Lesnar to that show.
That's what I heard too.
To go up against Cope and Christian.
Canada.
In Toronto, that's how they're going to counter book with Cena and Lesnar, is apparently the rumor that's going around right now, and I would not be surprised.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me in the least, sadly.
So, if TNA goes to AEW, they're going to get clobbered. TNA is not a great product, and unfortunately has not been for a while. And I haven't, which is unfortunate because they have some really great talent. They've got like Mike Santana is great. Cedric has been over there doing stuff. Mustafa is there. They've got some, but then they also have Tessa Blanchard and like, and, you know, and they've got that type of stuff. And then, so, I mean, they do still have Joe Hendry, but they kind of missed the boat on him and pushing him when they should have, which is what they just did the exact same thing with Mike Santana. Sami Callihan was retired at Emergence. He lost to Santana, and his thing was like, if he loses, he retires, and he did. He has retired. And it sounds like it's a legitimate retirement. It sounds like he was having some injury and or health issues. And he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But yeah, Brad makes a good point that, even if the talent are going to jump ship from AEW from WWE or to AEW from WWE, they can use them as leverage to get money from WWE. Wrestlers need AEW around just as much, if not more than anyone. And he points out that Kyle Fletcher re-signed recently and it said his dream was to be on WrestleMania, but when Tony brought him in, he realized there was so much more to wrestling than that. And then we also found out this week that Hook re-signed. Hook signed a really big deal. Or extension rather, just like Kyle did. And so they're keeping.
It depends on what you want out of the deal. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on what you consider is the top of the, and what you want out of your wrestling experience. So,
right.
And then, I mean, price. And Dave has always said it matters what your price is. So, and WWE can usually pay it. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth.
But WWE has not wanted to pay it. Like I said, they just lowballed. They could pay Stephanie Vacker what AEW was going to pay her, but they didn't want to. They did the exact same thing to Mariah. Or to Blake Monroe. They could have paid her what AEW was going to pay her, but they didn't. And then cashed in on the we can't offer you this, but we can offer you your dream job. And that's what they played on. So they can offer the money. They just don't want to because they're pissed about that. AEW is paying talent a lot of money and now they have to do it. So this is how they're lowballing them, and they're going to continue to do it once they own TNA and however that
they are, because they're getting away with it.
Right.
No one's stopping them.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. Brad, when you use this hashtag We Want Mellow, did you say Miz? Here you go. That's exactly. I was like, I don't think this is what the fans meant when they wanted hashtag We Want Mellow. And then so one of the other writers said hashtag We Want Mellow, but not like this, please.
Yeah, right.
Nikki said it's so laughable to me that they think this is going to make people tune into Cena versus Sex Fest over AEW. I understand that people watch both and maybe some will start with WWE, but that's not much of a difference. Right. And then, USVA guy is right that the wrestlers don't want a union. Oh, some of them do. And some of them named Cody Rhodes said when AEW started before AEW started, he was going to look into starting a union, and he was very pro union. And then AEW started, and then he kind of was in it, but then he got made an EVP and changed his tune real quick. So Cody is just as much as the problem as, because Cody made it so he went on this whole big rah-rah speech about how he's going to help unionize wrestlers, and he had the opportunity.
They can't get over their insecurity about each other. They don't understand.
He became an EVP and conveniently forgot that he ever said that. So,
I mean, it's so silly. If you have a union, you all get a vote. It's not like they're.
I mean, sure, there are some wrestlers who don't want a union because same reason Hulk Hogan didn't want one. It cuts into their money. But Cody for a little bit did. He was very much when he was in ROH and New Japan and running the indie scene. He talked a lot about how they're going to have a union and we're going to unionize and we're going to help them, and AEW is going to pay people and we're going to do things right. And then never heard of it again. So there are some wrestlers who do want it, and then there's some people who cut you off at the knees.
They just can't get their shit together collectively.
But they're gonna, at this point, like they're getting to the point where they're gonna have to.
I mean, it's maybe the younger ones will finally see the light and just be like, if we don't do this, we're gonna get taken forever.
Yeah. Because you're gonna get stuck on the indies not making it.
You gotta look around at the other sports guys and go, well, they're making millions of dollars and we're making 5 figures and maybe a bonus if we are on a big show.
I mean, sure, there are some really good success stories. Like, I think Effie is probably one of the biggest. Like, if you look at him and what he's been able to leverage, and Danhausen, even prior to signing with ROH and AEW, Danhausen has been able to, Matt Cardona is huge in doing stuff like that. And his Steph DeLander has been able to leverage that. And, you know, so there are some wrestlers who would, but you have to put in the work and the effort to do it. But they need to unionize. Don't know why they can't. I mean, they can't see it. They either just don't want to put in. And I know it's not easy. I know that there are people who are blocking them and things like that. But at some point, they're just going to have to, if they want to be unionized, they're going to have to take it upon themselves to do it. Yeah, Fernando said it was Cody's idea to have the scrums after the PLA. Well, they started doing the PLEs. They started doing the PLE, I mean, the scrums after the PLAs because AEW was doing them. They never did them before. The only time you would ever hear from Triple H is when he was doing the investors call for WWE. And that's how all the information came out, is because there would be certain wrestling writers on the calls, and that's how information would get out. And then Tony started doing the scrums, and WWE's like, hey, and maybe it was Cody that started doing that, which would not surprise me. And then Brad says that the problem is the indies, that they unionize, the indies would die. They're not going to pay for all the things that companies. But I'm saying that if they can't get into TNA, I mean, if they can't get into WWE, TNA, or AEW, they're going to be stuck, and they're going to have to do something. But yes, in some cases,
I feel like the pros need to, I mean, the indies unionizing is kind of like, that would be like saying the NCAA you would unionize. Like, college players are not going to unionize. They've done what they can to get paid in the best way possible I mean, I still think it's a half measure, considering these coaches are making millions of dollars. And a lot of the times these athletes that are being scholarshiped are from poor backgrounds. They can't, I mean, they're living on schools that they can't necessarily sustain themselves on. And they take $5 for them from a coach, or $20 to go buy their family groceries. And they get hit with a sanction from the NCAA. I just think that's total BS. And so the fact that they're at least trying to make laws that make that a little better for college athletes, considering that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that they're coming from, I think it's important. But even they are trying, even the college athletes got together finally and said, hey, wait a minute. We need to do something, because my family needs to be fed. And if it's my coach that buys me a bag of groceries and I get an NCAA fine for that, well, all these other jerks are driving around. They're taking up 2/3 of the freaking tuition that, you know, just liberal arts kid is paying. It's, come on, people. So I agree that it's not, the indies can't unionize because of what they are. They could, at least if the pros came up with a union, the indies could mimic in terms of cooperation. On the independent scene, if the talent was like, okay, well, when we get to the upper level, we'll have this thing. So let's model some behavior more like what the NCAA athletes are doing. Where they're like, we need our cut too here. We're the ones that are out on the field or out in the ring, wearing the gimmick, doing the thing, breaking our bodies for the entertainment. They should be taking home the same amount of money as a professional football player or a hockey player or anybody else is doing the exact same damn thing.
Bradson's not saying that he doesn't think that wrestling shouldn't be unionized. It should. It would weed out the companies that aren't serious, and maybe it needs to be done. Get the crap out of wrestling.
No, for
sure. There's always going to be shindies.
No, you're not wrong though about the indies because of the way they function in the current system. It's just
and a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of shindies out there that are always going to exist, and they're always going to book predators.
I think that the only way that it's going to happen though is that if talent needs to get out of their head that they're against each other, and they need to start working with each other so that they don't get effed over by. There's a lot of crazy crap that goes on in promotion and booking and in the wrestling scene from the bottom to the top. And I mean, I witnessed some. So you've got to be careful. And I think that if the talent were more, when you
but if you had a guy, but see, that's the problem. If you had a guy like Cody Rhodes who has a lot of
a leader, somebody that
he's a leader, he has a lot of clout behind him. Other wrestlers listen to him.
Yeah.
Other people within the company listens to him.
Oh, indie wrestlers look up to him. I listened to a whole group of indie wrestlers talking about how like people singing his song was like their dream.
Right. And then there's people there's people in the office who listen to Cody, who take what he has to say seriously. So obviously that would be the easiest way ever, and it's probably not going to happen. But like having a guy like a Cody, who for 5 minutes said he was going to, and then he didn't. But having a guy like that, but it's hard. But you're not going to have. It's going to take. You could have a Roman Reigns or somebody like that who could say, or even a Kenny Omega, who is an EVP and could probably have some leverage. But and I know it's not simple, and I get that. But I just hope they figure out a way to do it. USVA guy says that the problem is wrestlers themselves don't look at wrestling as a sport. They look at themselves as actors, independent contractors that always choose that life over being an employee. Well, then that's on them. Then I don't know what else to say. That's their problem then. Because I don't, other ones are going to have to be. Before we go, I want to go back to Colin's question. Yes, he said, have you discussed lights out cage match for Forbidden Door? What a poop match that'll be. 8 guys that are done in basically. And yes, I know I'm very late. Yes, we did talk about it. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think. I get it though. I get why you say that. And I'm sure Steven, like I said, Steven and Jeremy, particularly Steven, had a lot to say about that. There's a clip over on this channel, and they will be live at 5:30, which is another reason we got to get out of here, is they're going to be live at 5:30 to talk about the G1. And I think the match will be fine. I am a little concerned about some of the people who are in it for sure. But we were saying that perhaps, they don't let Tana do a whole lot. Maybe they find a way to get him out of the, Mel was saying maybe they can find a way to get him out of the match early, have somebody else come in, or figure out.
I was thinking particularly Will, if Will is going to be in that match.
Yeah.
It stands to reason that maybe someone takes him out early, or he doesn't do too many spots, or they keep kind of boxing him out.
Probably take him out.
You don't want to risk it, and obviously he doesn't want to not be there. So the safest bet would be to coordinate, choreograph that match in such a way that Will becomes incapacitated and can't make a whole bunch of spots. He throws some arms, he throws some kicks, does some moves, but
and that's also the thing for Tana too. Like, I think that's why he's in, even though granted it is in a lights out cage match, Tana is in there with 4 other men who can
take care of him.
So he doesn't have to do a whole lot. They can protect him in that sense. And then depending on how Gabe's knee is feeling on the other side of things, then you have, because I think Gabe is probably everybody. Well, Matt Jackson always has back problems. And he's learned to work with them. But Gabe Kidd is the one who was injured here. Like we said, he missed the whole G1 because he hyperextended his knee. So depending on how healthy that is, Gabe is also somebody that they're going to have to keep an eye on there. So, but yeah, we'll actually go into it even more next week, Colin, if you are here for that. We will be here next Sunday early, 10:30 a.m., because we are going to go through the Forbidden Door card for our pre-show. So we'll delve into the matches a bit more if you're here for that. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping the match is solid. I hope that those matches are usually a ton of fun. So I'm hoping it's at least fun, and that nobody gets injured, and that nobody dies. I think that's the best that we can.
Yes, that would be good. I would greatly.
I think that's the best we can hope for at this point with that.
Nobody dying. No Lance Archers here. Thank you.
Yes.
Nobody dies. Not everybody.
Yes, nobody. We got to change.
And David, no, I do not. I am happy with the bad apple and the redwood. That's plenty. I don't need any learning trees. They can stay far, far away from my rings.
I don't want the pinnacle to come back either. Nikki and I had forgotten. Nikki was looking at she was looking on this website that sells stuff, and they have like an inner circle shirt, and I was like, God, I don't miss the inner circle.
Bob asked me if I thought FTR was going back to WWE, and I said nothing is Never say never in wrestling.
Never say never, but I highly doubt it because of the
I
way
guess
they were treated.
WWE filed a trademark this week for Dax Harwood's like former ring name.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, so
I mean, I think they're under contract for a little while. I don't know.
I do too. I don't know that they would. I don't.
Like,
It doesn't seem realistic
obviously,
to me.
I
It was
can't
just
stand
interesting. I told him I just think that they're probably going around making sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I can't stand them for many reasons. I mean, I've made that perfectly clear.
I
do
know
not
how
like
you
them
two
for
feel. I
many
know that you
reasons.
two would be. Oh, I said, well,
But
my
the only
my
thing
first
is,
reaction was literally, well, Nikki and Sam would be stoked, but I don't.
I mean, but I still have to watch them because I get paid to watch the other products.
So
I
exactly.
would still
So
see
it's
them,
not that great.
but they just would be out of.
I
the
kind of
company
looked
I
at it
prefer to
as
watch.
that to me seems like that, because that's the kind of thing that a Tony or a Nick Khan thinks up, is making sure that they can't go wrestle under an alternative name, because many people have gone back to John Moxley or whatever their names were. And that is because they have money to burn. They can go file copyrights for goddamn anything they want to, really. I mean, they can file copyrights.
This is why a lot of AEW talents work with the copyright guy. There's a guy that helps wrestlers trademark things, and AEW there's a guy I always see his stuff come up on Twitter.
Bless his heart, way back in the way back machine. One Mr. Bruiser Brody himself was the first smartest wrestler in the whole universe. He went out as soon as he became a gimmick, and he trademarked everything he owned of his gimmicks. Everything. And I was smart. He was so ahead of his time in that the way that he thought about wrestling. Be like Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, be like Bruiser
Trademark
Brody.
your stuff.
I mean, that's literally when Max Caster comes out, that's what he's holding, is the trademark. I mean,
trademark.
No, is he the best wrestler alive? Absolutely not. But he trademarked it. And that's what's on his little piece.
Congratulations, because you have
out to his match every time he does the "Can you survive 5 minutes alive with the best wrestler alive?" It's what he's holding up. It's not.
It's hilarious because
he's holding up his trademark because he owns it.
So the minimum buy-in for trademarking something is $350, and they can still deny you and keep the money. That's the starting point, and that's assuming you just want to trademark one thing, which is usually not what happens, because you want to trademark it if they use it on a piece of paper, and you want to trademark it if they use it in this context. And you literally have to get in there and write down, it can't be used in this context, and it can't be used ever, and it can't be used here. So the more stuff you put in it, the more expensive your application becomes, and they can still tell you no.
Because it's a scam.
Well, it's a work, like everything.
Yes.
So which is why it's difficult for someone like you and me to go out and trademark our stuff, because we don't have $8 billion to file a trademark.
I would love to trademark.
And we don't know Congress people or people in the government that'll fast track it and make sure we don't get robbed of our money.
Right.
Who says, no, I'm sorry that your product just doesn't meet our qualifications, but thanks for the like $3,000.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm already paying federal taxes for not what I want them to be for.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So
yeah, I missed that they had trademarked something. But as far as I know, I don't think when they talk about contracts that are coming due, they're because people tend to ask Sean Ross Sapp, and he puts it in the free select thing that gets put into Slack all the time. And so that's how I find out things. And so when he was talking about like people who were coming up, whose contracts were coming up soon-ish or like next, FTR was not one of those people. So I assume that they're just trademarking things.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said to him. My attitude towards it was that they're probably going around making sure that nobody ever gets anything of theirs.
Yeah, again. I mean, listen, the Good Brothers said they'd never go back after getting stuck on an airplane in Saudi Arabia, and then they did.
Yeah.
So, you know. FTR got screwed over as a tag team in WWE with some of the things that they were trying to make them do. So, there's a good chance that they probably will not go back. But I mean, like you said, never say never, especially in wrestling. Especially when there's two companies.
Time heals all wounds in wrestling, as Dave likes to say.
Or everybody has a price.
Oh, that one too.
They try. There was some like Yes, from what Danielson says, they told him that he could not use the S chants in AEW. He was not allowed to because they were trademarked
Well, he
or something
doesn't.
like that.
He gets the crowd to do it.
He does the gesture,
smart.
doesn't say anything. So that's how he gets around it. And then the Blue Panther, like right after that, was in and wrestling in CMLL, and he was doing it in Mexico because Bryan Danielson is a huge Blue Panther fan. That's like his favorite wrestler of all time. Blue Panther really likes him. They have a nice they've become friends, I believe. And so Blue Panther was doing it in Mexico like right after this came out again. So I mean, because you can't own the word yes. Like that's the term everybody
you can't
uses.
stop the crowd from chanting it. And
right.
It's Bryan Danielson's thing, so we all know.
Yeah. So it's like he just can't. I guess he can't say the word. I don't know.
He can't start to chant himself. He has to do whatever he does, but he doesn't need to anyway.
But fans started all the time without him. I mean, he could just be in the ring and they start doing it.
He could walk into a indie show and people would start doing it.
Right, exactly. Because just like Sami Zayn, they still chant, ole, 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 without him doing anything because they do it. Okay, so Brad says that FTR is under contract for a few more years. They signed a 4 or 5 contract just a couple of years back, counting down the days till their contract runs out. Yeah. Nikki says, like the Bucks lawyer said, you can't own a hand gesture.
Or what is the? I mean, Apple and Verizon spent how many years in federal court over swiping? Who came up with the I mean, these companies are in the weeds.
They are. I don't know who that is. I'm not familiar with Faith Jeffries. So
do not know who that is.
I'm not sure who that is. But yeah, so I think we've covered everything. Come back here at 5:30 if you want. If you have not watched the G1, do not come at 5:30 because they will spoil it for you. But if you have seen G1 or you don't care if it's spoiled, come back at 5:30 and listen to Jeremy and Steven. They're going to talk about G1 finale that happened today and probably some other cool stuff. So make sure you go check them out. Follow Fight Game Media on social media.
You could literally just leave the channel on for the next hour or so.
Yeah,
and then watch a bunch of our clips, and then they'll be right there ready for you.
Or you can go watch how angry Steven got about the lights out match.
I want to go watch that now because I like it when I like their rant. Steven is an excellent ranter.
Yeah, no, they're great. So definitely go check that out while you're waiting. You can check that out. There's other clips from other shows that are on there as well. And make sure you subscribe and don't forget. We'll send out tweets and skeets and on Instagram too to remind you that next Sunday we will be here, but we will be here at 10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m. pajama edition pre-show.
Yeah. Sam is not a morning person, but she's going to be a morning person to come talk to you about wrestling.
Yeah, she's going to get up early for the show.
Actually, for one, I am, even though I'm a little annoyed with the Forbidden Door card as, the lack of crossover matches, I am still excited for the show.
Yeah, me too.
It'll be a good show. And we'll come back and talk to you with it about next week. Depending, who knows what else is going to happen between now and next week with WWE, TNA, all one word. It's just a whole bunch of letters.
Alphabet soup, the worst alphabet soup ever.
Yeah. So
all right. So
and go buy a shirt.
And go buy a shirt, oneradtee.com, all spelled out. ONERADTEE.com. I have the thingy, but I'm not going to put it up because we are going to get out of here. And we do appreciate those of you who have already supported that. It's so awesome.
Thank you.
We're very excited. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
See you later.